What's up, and welcome back to the Section 10 Podcast, episode 450, presented by Barstool Sports. It is the home of your soon-to-be 2022 World Series champion, Boston Red Sox. My name is Jared Carabas, and I am a certified G and a bona fide stud, and you can't teach that. And this right here, this is Coley Mick, and he's 7 foot tall, and you can't teach that. And this right here, this is Pat Light, and he had a 23 ERA with the Red Sox, and you can't teach that. Bada boom, realest guys in the room. Gary, how you doing?
What up, what up? Section 10 in the building.
In the mother fucking building. Presented by Coors Light.
Suck one.
Suck one. Pat's doing Christmas cards. I think Coley's got fucking elk in the background. Jake, I feel like you have a pretty calm situation going on over there.
Yeah, no plans so far, so.
No plans. No plans. We have Johnny Damon on the show today. Johnny Damon's on the podcast. I think it was last week. The teaser was that, we had Tim Wakefield on. He's a Red Sox Hall of Famer. And I was like, yeah, next week we have a Red Sox Hall of Famer too. And then it's like, well, wait a second. We looked it up. Johnny Damon's not in the Red Sox Hall of Fame. How? Why? We're going to get to the bottom of that later in the program, because there's a bigger Hall of Fame than the Red Sox Hall of Fame. I know some would disagree. Maybe I do. But there's a bigger Hall of Fame that has a new entrant as of Tuesday. It is David, the Lodge Father, Ortiz. He's the lone member of the Hall of Fame this year. Heading to Cooperstown. That was his name. That nickname didn't take off, but like in 2013, for whatever reason, the players, his teammates, called him Cooperstown. Like Gomes and Pedroia, those guys. They called him Cooperstown. And now on the first ballot, David Ortiz, he's voted in. It was like 77%. Like he barely got in. Like you looked at some of these ballots, like the not Mr. Tibbs, when he takes all the public ballots and he makes a record of the voting percentages. It was like Poppy was at like 83%. Bonds and Clemens were at like 77. Like they were on like the fringe of the public ballots, but they were in. And then we get the oh, I'm sorry, Pat. You get a cough?
Yeah, that's right. I had a cough.
It's all right. And then we looked at those voting percentages and they didn't get in. Bonds and Clemens don't get in. Curt Schilling doesn't get in, which is crazy to me because I think Schilling's voting percentage was like 58%. And I think 2 years ago, he was at like 70%. So all it took was Curt Schilling saying, don't vote for me. And then the voters were like, all right, fine, fuck you. Because he made like the lynching journalist tweet and he compared Muslim extremists to Nazis. And that really hurt him a lot. And then I think what hurt him the most was specifically asking for voters not to vote for him. He was just like, yeah, don't vote for me. And then he tried to petition to get his name taken off the ballot, which the Hall of Fame was like, no, you're going to stay on the ballot. And yeah, I mean, like you could very easily make the case that if Twitter never was invented, that Curt Schilling is a first ballot Hall of Famer. The guy's addicted to memes. But Curt should be in. Barry should be in. Clemens should be in. I mean, there's other guys, obviously, and I know Coley feels very strongly about Andruw Jones getting in. I'm kind of on the fence about it. Like, yeah, like would I be upset if Andruw Jones got in? No, of course not. But there's a case to be made.
What's the case he shouldn't be in?
Because the second he turned 30, it was the tale of two careers. Like he had a Hall of Fame first half and just a dog shit second half. Besides like 2005 when he.
I was gonna say I think half is incorrect, but it's like he was like 19 when he started, wasn't he?
Yeah. His 20s were Hall of Fame worthy. His 30s were like he would have been released today.
What? Yeah, but that's where I feel like that argument sucks. Like, why do I care?
I mean, he had a Hall of Fame peak. I
We
don't think
use
he had
it
a
as
Hall of
a-
Fame career.
We use it as a reason to keep Bonds and Clemens out, that they were good in their 30s and 40s, but because Andruw Jones had like a normal career.
Well, because it
Like,
wasn't sustainable. It wasn't a normal career. He had
He had-
a Hall of Fame peak.
But his peak
Once
was
he
a decade.
turned 30, he didn't have a great season after that.
Offensively, he was still a defensive wizard. He was the best defensive center fielder of all time.
I'm not
hit
complaining
over
if he gets in. I'm not
he
complaining
hit
if he gets
over
in. I just
400
understand why he's
home
not.
run. But I don't. Like, that's what all like where it's super hypocritical to me is we've talked about how the nerds have infiltrated the voting, and we talk about it with Johnny. His WAR isn't above 60, which is why he didn't get 10% of the vote. But Andruw Jones is, per the numbers, like the second best defensive player of all time, regardless of position. He played center field. He was like much better.
Well, Omar
defensively.
Vizquel's not in either. So, like, the voters just don't give a fuck.
Sure,
I mean,
but Omar
Ozzie Smith
Vizquel
is in.
Omar Vizquel didn't hit 430 home runs like Andruw Jones. Like, it's not. Omar Vizquel only has defense. Andruw Jones has over a decade of plus offense, and then it falls off after about 11, 12 years. Like, if he just retired or if he had died instead of just cashing a check from the Dodgers, like, why is that better? You know what I mean? Like, we all agreed before he went to LA, clear Hall of Famer, and then he was bad when he was supposed to be bad, and that's held against him. That's so dumb to me.
He went to the Dodgers?
I thought it was the Dodgers.
I know he played for the Yankees.
I think he
That
went
was
to the Dodgers.
after.
I don't remember him as a Dodger at all.
If you can't tell me the teams Andruw Jones played for, I feel like you're out of this conversation. Yeah, it was the Dodgers. What, like?
I don't remember him as a Dodger at all. I remember him as a Yankee, and I remember him with the Braves.
He made less All-Star games than he probably should have. He led the league in ribbies, home runs once. He was over 30 home runs pretty much from 98 to 07. He was averaging over 30 home runs a year for a decade. Like, that's where it's like, and he was a Gold Glove every year. I truly do not see the argument for him to not be in. 434 home runs. We all agree batting average doesn't matter, so I don't know why you would hold his 254 against him. His WAR's over 60.
That's like Dwight Evans. I think he led the 80s decade in extra base hits, and he was one of the best defensive outfielders and wasn't even really considered for the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. It was, I don't know. If we're in an era where we hold like steroids against some people and not others, like I've never heard him tied to anything. Like,
Andruw Jones?
I'm not saying he did or didn't. I'm just saying, like, did he fail
How
a
old
test?
was he? Like 30? No, he didn't fail a test. But I think like
Right.
2005 was the first year of testing. And I think that was the year where he just spiked in homers or whatever. Just like out of nowhere.
Wouldn't that be a
50.
good thing, though? Like, if they started ramping up the testing then and that's when he went off, wouldn't that say he was the cleanest guy to ever play?
I would say that maybe they just didn't have it all figured out because it was the first year and they were still just. I'm not gonna accuse him of steroids. I'm not, like whatever. I don't even really fucking care, to be honest with you. But
And also, if when they ramped up testing, that's when he doubled down and did more steroids, more reason to put him in.
I saw that take on the internet the other day. Like, I saw someone being like I wish I could give 2 votes to the steroid guys because they wanted to win more than the other guys. Like, how bad do you want it? If you're out there fucking, you're too afraid of needles, you want to do it the right way. Well, guess what teams were winning more? The teams with more steroid guys on them. Of course. It's just what it
I don't
was.
know. I think it's infuriating that, like, it's the Hall of Fame conversation has become so dumb, so fucking dumb, and
Well,
I
I'm
know
over
you've
it now.
alluded. Yeah, I don't know that it's gonna go away just because Bonds and Clemens aren't there when A-Rod's still there and has a long time to go.
Just got
He's
there.
not. That's what I mean. Like, he's not going anywhere. He's going to be. Manny still has a couple years. I don't see it going away. I would love for it to. I would just love for these guys to be in. I don't understand how Bud Selig can be in, and the guys he let do this are punished. Like, that's
mind-blowing.
Like, every commissioner I think's in. I don't think there's a single commissioner who isn't in. I get that's kind of comes with the job, but.
That's crazy. If the vast majority of baseball commissioners are in the Hall of Fame, it's just like, yeah, like you get the job and you make it to the Hall of Fame just for being a commissioner. Like, what?
Yeah, it's bullshit. How can you be a Hall of Fame commissioner if everyone is penalized that played underneath your time?
Right.
It just
doesn't
it
make
can't
any
be.
sense.
There was a strike during his time. There was the steroid era. It's like, yeah, welcome to Cooperstown, man.
The steroid era. The steroid era was his solution to the strike. That was his fix.
Yeah.
And
it
all
worked.
of the guys, it worked great. People love. This has been my biggest point of contention for 20 years now. If everyone just kept going about their business and not giving a fuck about steroids, baseball would be the number 2 sport in America still.
This is Jose Canseco's fault, is what you're saying.
It's ESPN's. I blame ESPN more than any single entity for this because they're the ones who had the choice on how they wanted to report this. They could either report it how they did, which is vilify Barry Bonds and eventually get him blackballed from baseball, or they could have just said, we don't give a fuck, dude. Homers are sick. That's what they could have done. They made the conscientious choice to say, we're going to make this seem like the biggest scandal that's ever hit the sports world. Every single person. I remember my father was the only person I remember being like, who gives a shit? Load him up. Because his biggest point, because he was a big semantics guy. He was like, well, where's the line drawn in truly performance enhancing drugs? Can they drink coffee? Because that gives people energy. So why is that okay? Can guys who were born with bad eyesight, can they wear glasses? Or is that a performance enhancer for them? And he's not terribly wrong. Like, of course it's semantics, but then when you hear like Hank Aaron being like, oh, we were taking fucking crystal meth. Like, we were taking amphetamines. We were taking stuff way worse health-wise, but gave us a huge edge. Like, every generation of players, truly the players, have come out and been like, oh, if we could find any advantage, whether or not it was legal, that we didn't. I mean, we got guys in the Hall of Fame who pitched at the turn of the last 2 centuries ago who had like knives in their belts and they would cut the ball up so it would curve different ways. Like, we had guys outright, like Michael Pineda had a black spot on his neck. There were guys who were just hawking fucking loogies on the ball and just wherever it goes, good luck hitting it. Like, I don't understand. Again, I've long been pro cheating in sports. I love Bill Belichick. I love Red Auerbach. I think any Bostonian who has a problem with cheating is a massive hypocrite and shouldn't be allowed to speak out loud. But the idea that there was such a vilification of only the players and the journalists who still are these gatekeepers were the ones who didn't break the story. Like, they didn't cause this. They made it worse. But, I mean, everyone points to the Mark McGwire interviews he used to do with the fucking tub of Andruw behind his head. No one at that time was just like, hey, why do you have that? Everyone was like, yeah, man, 70. That's dope. Like, there was never any... If there had been a journalist who had been pounding the table for years, this isn't right. Why are we allowing this to happen? Okay, that guy would have a great case. Journalists were making so much money off baseball too at the time, and now they get to be this moral superiority. And as me and Jared know, they're the same. Like, it's not a new crop of journalists who are voting. They were there for Sosa versus McGuire versus Griffey. Like, they were very much capitalizing off this. They were writing the books that are selling millions of copies because of David Ortiz, because of Barry Bonds, because of Alex Rodriguez, because of Roger Clemens. Like, they have all profited off of this, and the only people who get punished are 2 of the best players to ever play the game, including the very best player who's ever played the game.
Yeah.
Dumb.
Yeah.
Fucking dumb.
Very dumb.
Very dumb. But the other thing that I see nowadays is that, you know, when you're in the minor leagues and the big leagues, you always get these sheets of paper with new drugs that aren't allowed anymore. that they were allowed beforehand. So like now, does anything that they did prior to that, the guys using that drugs, are those stats wiped? Are they not valid anymore? Now you have to start fresh again. Like where the lines, and again, the test will always be behind the drugs, but I think you just let it all go. Whoever wants it wants it.
Like even like cortisone is a steroid,
Right?
and the effects of like a Toradol to be able to, I mean, you fucking know, Pat. Like if you're sore as fuck, you take some of that, you're good to go. Like it's not a steroid. It's not like, but it's a performance enhancer, is it not?
Is surgery performance enhancing? Like, should Yankee fans be furious that Curt Schilling was allowed to pitch in 2004 because of that ragtag staple job we did in the dugout on his fucking ankle? Like, at what point, like, because there are prior generations where they didn't have those medical advantages. Like, if you tore your ACL, that was your career. Now you're back to the same fucking, you're back to the same season. Like, what Acuna almost played in the World Series because of how quickly he healed. Like, what, like the drawing of the line is so blurry. Everyone says like Balco. Everyone's like, I think we all still remember those old 2004 Andruw steroids. But like the stuff they have now that is legal is almost up to par with those.
Yeah.
Also, I'm
That's
pretty
why,
sure
like,
if it was the same in baseball, I don't think you get tested when you're on the 60-day.
They're not getting
would
tested right now.
Well, I know that,
During the
but I
lockout,
think
these players could just be juicing.
If I remember correctly, when you go on the 60-day, you don't get tested.
So, like, to help healing, you're saying they could give you a little HGH or something. Interesting.
Yeah.
And HGH,
Which they
like,
should.
Well, HGH gets lumped
And they
into
do.
all this, and it feels like, from my very rudimentary knowledge of HGH, like it's super helpful and can be super helpful, especially when it comes to healing from injuries. And if the owners, their biggest point of contention is like having their players on the field, the big money guys that don't want to waste money. We talked about fucking maybe acquiring Byron Buxton before he signed his extension in Minnesota. Like, yeah, if he can take HGH and actually be on the field, like now you're not worried about your money investment. Now you're not worried if the fans buy his jersey, will they even get to see him play? Now you're like, oh, we can sink $150 million into Jacoby Ellsbury because we know he'll be healthy because we know this works. Like, I don't understand. The vilification of it was such a stupid move, and they double down every year on how fucking stupid it was. Like, they've never gotten out of their own way to fix it. If they had put Bonds and Clemens in on the first ballot, no one would care about steroids. Not a person alive. Like, it would have been over. And instead, they've wasted 15 years of everyone's fucking time. And the reason I'm so upset about it is it devalues David Ortiz getting in. Because now everyone says, well, what about him? As opposed to just being like, yeah, no, that whole era was sick. We all agree. Now it's like, well, he might have failed this test in 2003 that we don't really know about. But we don't like him because he played for the Red Sox and because Barry Bonds isn't in. Like, it's so fucking stupid. Like, even when you let a guy in, it casts a bigger shadow of doubt. Like, and David Ortiz is a clear first ballot Hall of Famer. Barry Bonds not being in isn't a good argument to keep David Ortiz out. But the argument shouldn't even exist because Barry Bonds should just be in the fucking Hall of Fame where he belongs.
Correct. I feel like this is a good place to put my rant about David Ortiz that I talked to you about last night, Coley.
Yeah.
All right, so here's the deal. Because there are people that are sitting here looking at the Hall of Fame class, the Hall of Fame ballot, the voting percentages, and saying, this doesn't make sense. And I'll agree. A lot of it does not make sense. Like, to some of the lower extent, where Barry Bonds has a higher voting percentage than Roger Clemens, I don't know how those two gentlemen are not a package deal. I don't understand it. I don't understand how you can put in David Ortiz, but not Roger Clemens and Barry Bonds. So here's the thing that I don't love, and kind of like what Coley's alluding to. I don't love David Ortiz getting looped in with guys like Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, and to a lesser extent, Alex Rodriguez. I don't feel like some people try to make, it's mostly Yankee fans that are like, well, our guy is a PED guy and people didn't like him. So he got 30% of the vote, and people like David Ortiz. So he got 77% of the vote. Now he's in. Like, he's a Hall of Famer because people like him. If you're one of those people that compares David Ortiz to Alex Rodriguez in a Hall of Fame sense, you're a fucking idiot. Or you could be ignorant. You may just not know. You may just not have the facts. But more than likely, you're an idiot. So let me explain. And Tommy Smokes, I saw this on the short porch. Tommy Smokes said Alex Rodriguez never failed a test in comparison to David Ortiz. Wrong. That's incorrect. Alex Rodriguez was on the same list as David Ortiz in 2003. And the one point that I've always wanted to make about David Ortiz that never gets talked about, I've never seen anyone else make this point. There's no receipts on the guy. None. So this all goes back to the 2003 anonymous list, right? MLB is under the impression maybe we have a steroid problem, maybe we don't. Like, we don't know. We don't really know about steroids. We don't know who's taking them, whatever. So they do this anonymous test of the league, and if it hits a certain threshold percentage of people testing positive, then that was their indicator that we need to implement testing moving forward. So they do the anonymous testing, and then they decide, okay, we need testing, which didn't come around until 2005. The Mitchell report comes out. And if you didn't know, the guy Mitchell, who did the Mitchell report, guess what? Works for the Red Sox. Shocker. Surprise. So they have Gary Sheffield, Roger Clemens, Jason Giambi, Andy Pettit, all these Yankees. They're on the Mitchell report. Guess who doesn't like that? The Yankees. Because who's from the Red Sox on the Mitchell report? Mo Vaughn, Manny Alexander. I only know who Manny Alexander is because he was on the Mitchell report. I don't think he did anything else of note in his life besides be on the Mitchell report. So that's how insignificant he was from a baseball perspective. It's like, yeah, we'll feed you Mo Vaughn because he's already gone. He's not even on the Red Sox anymore. It's like, all right, yeah, he won a division title and an MVP in 1995, but that was a long time ago. We don't give a fuck about his legacy in Boston. He left, whatever. So there's no notable Red Sox names in the Mitchell report. You know who that upsets? Again, the Yankees. And I think David has talked about this publicly, about how he thinks that because the Mitchell report didn't throw any Red Sox players to the wolves the same way that it did Yankee players, notable Yankee players, some people think that the Yankees said, yeah, but that anonymous 2003 thing, I guess he was on that. Why are people FaceTiming me in the middle of my rant? You know who was on that list? David Ortiz and Manny Ramirez. And it's like, how do you know? How do you know if it was anonymous? How do you have that information? Who told you that? Like, if it's supposed to be anonymous, how did you get that information? Well, David Ortiz has that press conference after it's reported, I believe in 2009. David Ortiz is on the anonymous test list from 2003. And he was like, yeah, I'm going to try and get to the bottom of this. I don't know. I was not told that I tested positive. I don't know what I could have possibly tested positive for. And then everyone's like, well, David Ortiz said he was going to get to the bottom of it. Where's the information? And it's like, well, because it was supposed to be anonymous, he goes to the league and he's like, hey, can you tell me, like, if I tested positive? Like, is that real? No, he can't tell you. You can't even tell me if I was on the list? No. Can you tell me what I tested positive for? No, I can't do that either. So I don't even know if I'm on this list. Like, if there's a chance I might not even be on this list. Someone just said that. And because it's under lock and key, we can't even confirm if I was on it. And if I am, what the fuck did I test positive for? So several years later, Rob Manfred comes out. I believe this was either 2015 or 2016. And he's like, yeah, I mean, like, that 2003 list is not accurate. He said there were false positives on there. He could have tested positive from a supplement that he got from GNC, could have been flagged as a positive. It's not necessarily like, yeah, this dude was on anabolic steroids, confirmed. We don't know. What we do know is that David Ortiz did not test positive after testing was implemented in 2005, right? No positive tests. And then what we keep seeing people say is, well, A-Rod didn't test positive either. We know A-Rod was on steroids, and we know that he was doing all kinds of PEDs his entire career. He was doing that, and he never tested positive. So what do you got to say about that? Well, we have fucking receipts for days on Alex Rodriguez. He got suspended for a full year because he was linked to the biogenesis scandal. And it's like, well, Roger Clemens and Barry Bonds, it's all speculation. You'll hear this in the Johnny Damon interview. He's like, well, we don't really know. Well, we do know. There are whole ass books written about Roger Clemens and Barry Bonds, what they did, where they got the shipments sent to, who the shipments were from, who injected them, where they were, who the trainers were. There's plenty of receipts and smoking guns on guys like Clemens, Bonds, and A-Rod who never tested positive. David Ortiz, we have an anonymous list that we're not even really sure he's on, that we have no idea what he tested positive for, even if he was on it, that the commissioner of baseball is telling us is basically a bullshit list that potentially he didn't test positive for anything that was banned under the league's ruling. And then we have no receipts. Where's the book on David Ortiz's PED use? Where's the rat? Where's the snitch that was like, I sent him this, and I've got the receipts, and here's the FedEx receipts, and we have him in a system at this anti-aging clinic. There's none of that. We've got that on the other guys. Where the fuck where someone would have talked by now. David Ortiz is too popular, too successful, too famous, too rich to have someone, if you're in the world of PEDs, a lot of shady people in that world, someone would want to take him down. So, I mean, someone did try to take him down. Obviously not related to PEDs, but it's not like he doesn't have his enemies. So if there were a smoking gun, if there were a receipt to reveal or a story to tell, I kind of feel like we'd know about it by now. Because what would you try to do? You try to hurt his legacy. Why? So that he doesn't get the Hall of Fame. He got the World Series. He got the money. He's got the legacy. Now, where can you hit him where it hurts if you really have the smoking gun? Oh, you can take the Hall of Fame away from him. Guess what? Nothing ever came out. You got nothing on the guy. So that's where it's different. That's why I don't want anyone comparing David Ortiz to, how do you not vote for Barry Bonds, but you vote for David Ortiz? And it's like, well, because it's very different. How do you vote for David Ortiz, but not A-Rod? Because it's very different. Like apples and oranges, essentially, we're comparing here.
Yeah, I mean, I do think there are other factors at play. I think David Ortiz is a very likable guy. I think that makes it easier to vote for him. But, I mean, the biggest thing is, like, either the entire era has a cloud of speculation over it or it doesn't. So I don't understand why anyone who didn't fail a test, even if it, like, was physically obvious that they did something, I don't know why that's being held against. I don't know why, like, they're just trying to erase an entire era of baseball and pretend it didn't happen. Like, that's not how you get over something. That doesn't help you with the fans. It doesn't help you with anyone. It doesn't help you with the players. Like, it's just all so stupid. Like, there wasn't a single article or debate I saw being like, Edgar Martinez was better at baseball than David Ortiz.
No.
Which is a fair take to have. I would disagree. But if you wanted to actually debate baseball, you could debate Frank Thomas versus David Ortiz. Like, those would be great Hall of Fame debates to have. They don't do that. They say that guy didn't get in, this guy shouldn't, which is the same reason Pedro didn't win MVP in 99, which is the same reason Derek Jeter didn't get in with 100%. Same reason Ken Griffey Jr. didn't get in with 100%, because some guy didn't vote for Nolan Ryan in 1994. Like, baseball is intent on being like, well, it happened to this guy, so it has to happen to this guy too, which makes no fucking sense whatsoever. It's like when you hear people being like, oh, you can't wipe out college debt. I paid all mine off. That wouldn't be fair. Yeah, it sucks that you had to pay back all your loans. Why does it have to suck for everyone? Like, what? Why do people have to be punished for something that has nothing to do with them?
So I think like the Hall of Fame voting process is fucking dumb. We talk we talked about it in the interview with Damon about how you'd be hard pressed to find someone in the collage of Hall of Fame voters under the age of 78 years old. Yeah, it bothers me that I guess what I find silly is when people on Twitter are like, well, you can't tell the story of baseball without Barry Bonds. Like, you can't tell the story of baseball without Roger Clemens. And it's like, how many of these people are actually driving up to Cooperstown, New York, walking around the area of plaques and being like, well, I mean, how am I supposed to know the whole story? Because Barry Bonds, it's like, you got Google. I mean, you got YouTube. Like, the story's being told somewhere.
I don't even view Cooperstown as like the brick and mortar building that it is. It's more a stamp of validation on someone's career. And not putting these guys in is an attempt to invalidate an entire era that literally saved baseball. So yep. I don't get the hypocrisy. I don't know. And I do think, like, I'm not naive to the full point where, do I think David Ortiz started taking something legal or otherwise that helped him once he came to Boston? Yeah, probably. I would argue that the Boston Red Sox have better equipment, much smarter people than the Minnesota fucking Twins, who haven't won a playoff game since before David Ortiz came to Boston. A playoff game, not a series, one game. Haven't done it. So yeah, I would wager that he probably had more at his disposal when he came to Boston. He was also hitting in front of and behind of Manny fucking Ramirez. He also had more, like it's probably easier to play when two of your Dominican idols, Manny Ramirez and Pedro Martinez, recruited you to the fucking team. Like, and this idea that Ortiz had no power before he came to Boston, which I've seen some people trying to push, he just didn't play in Minnesota. Minnesota's I have no problem shitting all over the Twins. They're a very poor organization. They don't know what they're doing. They trade for people like Pat Light. They're not that smart. The thought process, when I blogged this the other day, the reason I let off the blog with the home run derby when he was with the Mariners organization and he beat Alex Rodriguez and Ken Griffey Jr. in a home run derby when he was a fucking teenager. How does that get erased from this conversation? Like, he wasn't some no-name that we picked up off the streets and just injected with steroids to make him a good baseball. He was always a good baseball player. Always. The Twins not playing him and utilizing him to his full potential is not a good argument that he was bad. Otherwise, let's talk about current players. Let's talk about Garrett Cole, who was a piece of shit in Pittsburgh. Not very good, despite his high draft pick. Just like, high draft picks don't mean anything. So the fact that he was bad in Pittsburgh, now he's some world beater in Houston, that doesn't raise any eyebrows. Interesting. It's just such a stupid conversation to have. Like, he's not the first player to go from one team to another and be better. Like, that happens literally every year. I saw
David
one guy.
Ortiz's last season with the Twins, he had a .500 slugging percentage.
He was a monster.
32
Pedro Martinez,
doubles, 20 homers.
Pedro Martinez could not believe he was a free agent. The Twins just cut him. He could not believe he was available. He called, because there's another clip I put in there. Ortiz on the Twins taking prime Pedro fucking yard, just turning on a fastball and smoking it. Like, there were obvious. And the Red Sox, when he came to the Red Sox, I don't even want to shit on the Twins as much. When he came to the Red Sox, as Damon says later, we buried him behind Jeremy Giambi. Not even the good Giambi. We weren't even convinced yet. He did it with his play. Like, did he take something? I don't really care. Was it legal or illegal? Still don't care. He played in a league. He played the vast majority of his career in a league where testing was very strict, and he didn't fail one of them. how that doesn't matter. Like, even if you want to throw out 03, like, yeah, that was the year he was cheating. 04, it stopped because they knew the testing was coming. All right, so that's all of his career then. You're saying all of his career he was clean. Like, what are we talking about here?
I think that's the best argument you have is because after the era ended, he was still fucking amazing.
Incredible.
Like, incredible. So, like, how do you, and like, he also played a ton. Like, and when you think Barry Bonds, you just think the steroid era. When you think David Ortiz, you don't think of the steroid era at all. You think his whole career was pretty much post the steroid era. So he's not even really included in that time. He's just included because Yankee fans want to hate him for being in the Hall of Fame.
Which I get. Yankee fans complaining, they're the only people I understand. Like, I was saying, like, David Ortiz evokes emotion. That's the kind of person he is. You can't talk about him without getting emotional. That's as a Red Sox fan or a Yankees fan. They're opposite ends of the spectrum emotionally, but they're fucking emotions because he haunted them. I saw one Yankee fan who was like, people are arguing that he got better because Fenway Park was tailor-made for his swing, and then he posted his home versus road career home runs. He has more on the road. The idea that home runs were the end-all be-all to this guy's argument, like David Ortiz, the reason Fenway was tailor-made to his swing was because he wasn't just a power hitter. He hit more doubles at Fenway than any other park, any two parks combined. If he had signed with the Yankees instead, yeah, his home run numbers would have been way up, and he would have hit almost no doubles because it would have been impossible for him to hit a double at Yankee Stadium regularly because of how fucking small and cartoonish that outfield is. He would have got thrown out at second more than any player in baseball. But he would have hit 100 more home runs. Those doubles just would have went over the fucking wall. So, like, what are we talking about? Of course, Fenway Park. He learned how to inside out it and use the green monster to his advantage like no left-handed hitter before or since. In my lifetime, at least, I can't think of someone. I know we've tried to teach people. I know Devers is getting there. And even as skilled a hitter Devers is, he still doesn't quite have it. Not nearly the level of David Ortiz did. So the fact that, like, Fenway, like, if you're making that argument, you shouldn't be talking out loud.
No,
like, I know I take away a lot of... I know I take away a lot of people's speaking privileges, but when these are your arguments, even if you are just like an angry Yankee fan, that's a terrible argument. Like, I get why Yankee fans hate David Ortiz. They should. That's part of why he's one of the greatest players of all time. Like, he was the Red Sox. He was the face of one of the two most important franchises in MLB history, the Red Sox and the Yankees. When Derek Jeter got in, a lot of Red Sox fans were like, I never even understood that. He was another obvious Hall of Famer. Having these arguments against obvious Hall of Famers drives me insane. Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah, I think it's bullshit because David Ortiz, everyone knows as a pitcher that big-time power lefties are more than likely trying to pull the ball. Everyone, it's just ingrained in your head that you throw a low and inside fastball to a power lefty. That is the only ball he's looking for, and he's trying to pull it. David Ortiz is one of the first guys ever to be a phenomenal hitter and an intelligent hitter to see that fastball away at Fenway Park and hit it off the green monster and just collect doubles. You can fuck off with this. It's tailored to his swing nonsense. The guy was a good hitter. He realized what he could do at Fenway Park, and he fucking did it for a really good time, for 10 fucking years, 15 years, whatever, how long it is. And the guy won a bunch of World Series, and now he's in the Hall of Fame. He deserves to be.
Yeah, and if he were truly just some I feel like the people who hate him try and say he's like Adam Dunn. Like, he was home run or strikeout. Like, he just wasn't.
Not even fucking close.
Like, like, to act like he was a true, what do they say? Like, 3 results guy, 2 results guy, 2 true results guy. Like, strikeout or home. Like, that wasn't what he was doing at all. He could work a count. Yeah, of course he could take you deep. He hit 541 home runs. Like, yeah, he was a terrifying, menacing hitter in the box. But to act like that's all he was doing is insane. I think he hit 320 career at Fenway. Like, as we know, he didn't hit over 300 home runs at Fenway. So what else was he doing? He was clearly doing a lot, which is not indicative of steroids. That's indicative of hitting.
Yes, he's a phenomenal hitter. One of the more intelligent ones happened in the last 2 decades. It's not even close.
Yeah, and I think that comes with probably playing with Manny Ramirez a little, who's the most crafty right-handed hitter I've ever seen. A guy who would throw at bats in the first inning just so he could set up a pitcher for the 5th inning. Like, I'm sure, like, Manny wasn't like a big breakdown film guy. He was just intuitive. He just knew more than everyone else. But I'm sure that rubbed off on David Ortiz a ton. And I know people are going to be like, well, Manny did fail test. Yeah, he sure fucking did. I don't know that you can draw some conclusion that he was like, not everyone was Jose Canseco is the point. I think everyone views every steroid user as open and injecting all their teammates like Jose Canseco has claimed to have done. I don't think that's how it was at all. Otherwise, those Cardinals teams would have been fucking monsters because McGuire would have been spreading it around all over the place, and he clearly didn't. They didn't win shit. They didn't win a goddamn thing till he was gone and Pujols took his place.
David Ortiz finished top 5 for the MVP 5 times in 5 consecutive seasons. So I'm going to read you these numbers. So this was from 2003 through 2007. He finished top 5 in the MVP every year. In this particular year, led the league with 48 doubles, led the league with 127 runs batted in, led the league in slugging percentage 620, led the league in OPS 1021. What year was that, Coley, Pat, Jake?
03?
2005.
Pat?
2016.
Pat cheated. It was
Is
his
it
last
right?
year. Yes.
I didn't cheat. I just said it because it was the only year I played with him.
Yeah. It was his final year when he was 40 years old. He led the league with 48 doubles. He hit 38 home runs. Led the league in RBI, 127. He hit 315. Led the league in slugging and OPS. His OPS is over 1,000 for the first time since 2007.
No.
And 2012.
12.
But that was a half season. And his on base was 401. Incredible.
I remember playing like 7 games with the gentleman, and it was asinine what the fucking guy does. And then obviously he's probably always happy because he's a great fucking hitter in the clubhouse. But like what he would great fucking hitter, but like in the clubhouse, it was just a fucking child's game to the guy. It was a man amongst boys.
What was he like in the clubhouse?
Just fucks around. It's like it was like a kid in a candy store. He was having so much fun. I'm out there getting booed by 40,000 people. And this guy's laughing it up at the end of the dugout.
Oh, I'm sure he was booing too.
Yeah. So like, this guy stinks. He's probably the one that got you sent down. He probably went into Farrell's office and was like, listen, Big Papi don't play with garbage like that.
Yeah, I can't do it. Can't do it, won't do it.
I'm not even sure he knew I was there, to be honest.
Oh, he knew. Can't miss it.
Pat, did you ever feel like David Ortiz was always on?
What do you mean?
Like, do you ever think he needed a moment to chill, or would you say he like found those moments because he's a smart guy?
I think he's just such an intelligent guy all around, not just in the game of baseball. I think that he would go out and get those moments to chill out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, especially in the postseason where he made most of his mark, which I'll get to in a second because like I'll get to it right now in the middle of the ad read. People focus on regular season way too much when it comes to the Hall of Fame. Like, I understand it's a team sport. You can only do so much to get to the playoffs. The guys who do get to the playoffs, why is it not in their favor when it comes to voting for them when they do outperform everyone else? Like, it's almost viewed as a negative. Like, oh, he did it in the postseason, but this other guy was better in the regular season. I don't give a shit about the only reason they play the goddamn sport is the postseason. So yeah, Mike Trout's a Hall of Famer. It's not going to be held against him that he has 0 postseason success to speak of and never will. But to act like him, Reggie Jackson, like, these guys are Hall of Famers specifically because of what they did in October. David Ortiz was no slouch in the regular season, but when you constantly show up in the biggest moments and deliver time and time and time again, it's insane to not have that be the lead argument, not even like buried in the back. Like, that's the lead. Like, yeah, other guys can't say that because they didn't do it. That's not David Ortiz's fault. Insane.
I think it's the opposite. Like, I think I think when people talk about David Ortiz and getting into the Hall of Fame, that too many people lead with the postseason stuff. And they're just like, yeah, greatest postseason hitter of all time. And like what this guy did in October, this, and that. And it's like, yeah, but he did that in the regular season too, which is way longer and way difficult to maintain an OPS over 1,000 for 162. And then there was like the 10 straight seasons that he played at least 140 games. 150, 159, 151, 149, 109, 150, 145, 146. Like he had that 1 year where he played 109 in 2008. That was when he like tore the sheath in his wrist.
Yeah.
But other than that,
but yeah, that's what I mean. Like people do lead with that as if it's a negative. Like they use it to either overshadow his regular season or to act like he was just another guy in the regular season. Like it's the conversation around him is insane. But the playoffs are when everything is go, go, go. It's nothing but nonstop hustle all the time. And David Ortiz always found a moment to chill. Even when the rest of the world around him was chaos, it was like he was in the batter's box with an ice cold Coors Light. There's only one beer out there. Only one. That's literally made to chill, and that's Coors Light. The mountains on the bottles and cans and the aluminum ones turn blue when your beer is cold. You don't have to feel it, and as we've talked about before, glass and metals and things like this can feel cold even when they're piping hot. That's why you need the cold activated blue mountains. So you know for certain that crisp, cool, ice cold refreshment is going to hit your lips. You will not be disappointed. Coors Light is cold lagered, cold filtered, and cold packaged. It is literally made to chill. Jared, what's your favorite David Ortiz moment that you remember watching while enjoying a Coors Light?
Ooh, I would say, actually, you know what? I was enjoying an ice cold Coors Light at Fenway Park when he hit his final home run at Fenway, and Clay Buchholz's wife confronted me about being an asshole. And I was like, you know what? I think you need a moment to chill. And then we both enjoyed a Coors Light, and everyone was just chilling and enjoying the home run that David Ortiz hit.
Coors Light is the one I choose when I need to unwind. So when you want to hit reset, reach for the beer that's made to chill. Get Coors Light in the new look delivered straight to your door with Drizzly by going to CoorsLight.com/rocket. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Suck one.
Yeah, suck one long and hard, because the Coors Light partnership with this brand here, we treasure it. There's nothing better than walking into a bar in Southie a couple weekends ago, walking up to the bar, you make eye contact with that bartender, so you know he knows. You sit down. What's he do? I don't even have to say a word. He just cracks an ice cold Coors Light in a bottle for me. I don't even have to say it, because he knew that I was there to chill.
If you could, well, throw it to Johnny Damon, and then we'll talk about David Ortiz more.
You want to keep talking about David Ortiz?
We've only talked about steroids, and he doesn't deserve that. He deserves a celebration of his career.
You want to celebrate his career after this?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's celebrate his career. You want to? All right, we'll do Johnny Damon, and then we'll celebrate.
Let's do some celebration.
Pat, you want to celebrate?
I want to celebrate.
Jake?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, Jake wants to celebrate.
Hell
you
yeah.
can tell. You can tell. All right. Without further ado, this is a former teammate of David Ortiz's, soon to be Red Sox Hall of Famer, Johnny Damon. All right, we're here with two-time Section 10 guest Johnny Damon, and that introduction sucks, because last week we had Tim Wakefield on, and we were teasing it by being Red Sox Hall of Famer Tim Wakefield. And then when I talked to you, I was like, all right, we didn't announce that it was going to be you. So I was like, okay, is he a Red Sox Hall of Famer? We were checking the Red Sox Hall of Fame because I want to be like, yeah, we got back-to-back weeks with the Red Sox Hall of Famer. And we looked, and you're not in the Red Sox Hall of Fame. What the fuck? Why are you, what? Is that something that they approached you about and you were like, no, thanks? Or have they not even, like, you're a Red Sox Hall of Famer, whether you're in there or not. Like, what is going on?
Well, probably not because I signed with the Evil Empire, the Yankees, but I also heard to get into the Red Sox Hall of Fame, you needed to have 10 years with the same organization or with the Red Sox. So
no way. Pedro didn't have 10 years with the Red Sox.
All right. Let's
I think it's
Let's
with
everybody calm down before we start saying things about Pedro that we regret.
Well, that's what I heard originally. Or no, actually,
it's to have your number retired.
That's correct. So
yes.
I'm not quite sure. I'm sure the Yankee thing didn't help my cause, even though we put up some incredible years from 2002 to 2005. And, it is what it is, no respect sometimes.
Yeah, like, come on. So I think what you're thinking of is that the Red Sox made up this rule that they don't even follow, by the way. It's 10 years with the team, retire with the team, and get into the Hall of Fame. So Pedro, not 10 years with the team, didn't retire with the team. When they retired Ortiz's number, he wasn't in the Hall of Fame yet. I mean, obviously he was going to get there, and we'll talk about him later. But they just Johnny Pesky, not in the Hall of Fame. They made these rules and then broke them every single time that they retired a number. Like Wade Boggs did not retire with the Boston Red Sox. So those are the rules that you're thinking of for the retired jersey. But Red Sox Hall of Fame, I mean, what are we doing here? Like, just from I know that the Johnny Damon era in Boston feels longer than what it was, just because you just made this impact, and Johnny Damon, you got the sweetest ass in the league. that was a thing, but it's a short window of time. However, for the Red Sox Hall of Fame, what the fuck are we doing here, Red Sox?
Yeah, well, hopefully that time comes. I mean, it was such a great time in my life. Going there and a lot of people knowing that I could make a difference to make that team a lot better. People started watching me in my Kansas City days, and teams started drooling over what the possibility is. I'm really good in the clubhouse. I give it my all every time. So you don't have to worry about asking if I could play today or ask me to hustle. I played the game the right way, competed, and I believe that's why the respect for me is out there, because I'm a grinder. I always brought my A game, so
there you go.
It is what it is.
I love that. Let's talk about that for a second. So you're in the drink game now. What is it like? Energy drink? Like, what would you compare it to? What's the deal with this?
Well, it's a clean sports drink. I mean, it's my childhood buddy of mine created it back in 2012 because there were a lot of kids in the Central Florida area that were very dehydrated, and some even dying, mostly football players. It was a very hot summer, and we just felt like they weren't getting the proper nutrition. So we wanted to create something that was very clean and tastes good, and the name is absolutely the best. I mean, you got to bring your A game every single moment of the day. I had to bring it for the Red Sox. I have to bring it being a dad. You guys have to bring it every day when you do your shows. So
Coley's a dad too.
Yeah, it's true.
Nice.
Actually, I wanted to ask you about that because you've got like 37 kids, and I would say 80% of them. So Roger Clemens, all of his kids' names begin with the letter K, and we get it. Strike out Roger Clemens. Johnny Damon's kids, like 80% of them begin with D, and then you kind of just were like, all right, we'll switch it up. Why did you get off the D theme?
Well, the D theme started with Michelle and I and our kids. The first two were from my first marriage, Jackson and Madeline, and then Michelle and I We have a girl named Devin, girl Danica, twin girls Dasha, Delia. Driana was a surprise, and that's when I got the vasectomy. And then a year later, baby Dash comes around. We always wanted a Dash. That's why we named one of our twins Dasha. And, we found out about Dash right before my dad was passing. And we were like, Dad, you're not going to believe this, but Michelle's pregnant. There's a boy coming. And of course, being old school, he's asking, well, is it yours? I'm like, well, Dad, you're going to know a lot sooner than I am going to know. And he's my splitting image. He looks like baby Tarzan, or you can say baby Aquaman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Like, so you've kept the look maintained the entire time. Like, do you feel like this is just what it's going to be? Like how like Jimmy Page and like those dudes that had like the hair when they were in their like absolute heyday, and then they're in their 70s, and it's still, are you going to rock it when it's gray?
Well, I'm afraid to cut it once again because you just don't know if it's going to grow back. So I'm going to rock it. My son's rocking some long hair right now, so we're best buddies, and we kind of like what's going on. And obviously, I love this look from the Red Sox days. Like I said, it was the best time of my life, and we're going to continue to make sure life is great, and it's been fantastic.
It's like when pro wrestlers, like, they had a look that they rocked in their prime, and then they just keep it forever because it's like, yeah, it's like, hey, remember that time? And it's like this, like, you're rocking the vintage Johnny Damon look even all these years later. So do you think in your mind, like, seriously, do you think that Red Sox fans have moved on at this point? Like, I feel like if you went to Boston and you walk down the street and you have the long hair and you still have the beard, Red Sox fans would be like, thank you. Like, thank you. They're going to say thank you for 2004 before they say fuck you for leaving for the Yankees, I feel like.
Yeah, the Red Sox fans, I mean, they're fantastic. And yes, most of them love me. Unfortunately, like, it's a business, and you got young kids coming up to make you expendable, and everyone was okay with me leaving. It was just to the team, but I wanted baseball to remain important, and baseball is not important in too many places except for Boston, New York, and perhaps Chicago. I know people love the game, but legends are made in those great cities. And fortunately, I was at the right place at the right time with Boston and also New York, closing out the old stadium with the game-winning 3-run homer and opening the new one with the first hit there. So been very fortunate and very blessed. And I never took this game for granted and never took my fans for granted. The media, just always went about my business and always try to do the right things.
We've talked about this before, like your free agency that year, but like psychologically, you're a free agent after 2005. And we all know the real story is that the Red Sox just didn't make a competitive offer. Like they were not the best offer. They were not comparable to the best offer. When you entered free agency, was your mindset, I want to stay? Or was your mindset like, I mean, because you were a Boris guy, right?
Yes, I am.
So
and I wanted to stay. Yeah, for sure.
So you wanted to stay, but you end up getting an offer that you just can't refuse type deal.
Well, I got the only offer. I was trying to talk to Boston, trying to get a deal done, but they were wondering if they were going to trade Manny, when Ellsbury was going to be ready. There's a lot of factors that go into the business side. Aging center fielders are never they never stick around. I mean, you can go back to the Freddie Lynn days. You can center fielders tend to move because you lose a step, you start playing a corner outfield position, and you just try to do your best. But I tried to sign with Detroit because they just got off of a 120 game losing season, and I knew they had some talent. And spring training was close to my house, but they said they have a young kid named Curtis Granderson that they were giving a shot to that year. And then I also tried to sign with the Dodgers, but they signed for Kyle, and they just said they didn't have money anymore. And so I had to move on the Yankees, and they said it was going to be off the table. I let the Red Sox know, and they thought I was bluffing, and I'm not that kind of guy. I'm straightforward. I'm honest as can be, maybe too honest, and but it worked out for both teams. Eventually, I would have loved to have played with Beckett, Mike Lowell. I feel like we could have won a number of titles with me still there. But then again, you're starting to age, and teams always try to. They always think they can get better, and unfortunately, for me, I had to move, and I made sure I enjoyed my time in New York. And when we won in New York, I mean, I wasn't a top priority to bring back, but guess what? They haven't been back to a World Series. They haven't won a World Series, so I don't know. There could be some kind of a Johnny Damon curse now.
So when you're kind of seeing your free agency play out, and you see the Dodgers go away as an option, and the Tigers go away as an option, and the Red Sox are not competitive, and then the Yankees are the only offer on the table, what's the pie chart of excitement versus like, oh shit, like this is going to be a thing, like I'm going to be viewed as the bad guy now, and I in a place where that's the last place that you want to be viewed as a bad guy, is like, we just won in 04. Now I'm just going to straight up just piss on that legacy that I just built.
Yeah, and when I left for the Yankees, it was there was only 6 guys left from our 2004 World Series team, and yes, it was oh shit, because I gave it my all for the Red Sox, for the fans, for everybody, and all of a sudden it's like, oh man, I've got to go do this. I know I'm a very emotional guy, and I want to be liked. Everyone wants to be liked. No one likes to be booed, but you know what? I got to experience playing in front of the great fans of Boston, and it wasn't always great. 2004 obviously made it all great, but baseball's a tough game. But now it could be a lot easier, because you can't really yell certain things at baseball players nowadays. They're too sentimental on. Oh, they said that I stink. Oh gosh, we had all kinds of stuff thrown at us on the field. Got called every name in the book, and guess what? We just keep on going out there and competing, and it's always worse for the outfielders. Derek Jeter was always safe at shortstop.
Yeah,
someone had to have a really strong voice. Like third base, first base, we get hammered as well. But us outfielders, I mean, we're all tough. We've heard everything, but yeah, I did not want to leave Boston. I loved it there. And I'm just glad that it worked out for everybody.
Your first game back in Boston as a Yankee, I believe, was that the Doug Mirabelli police escort game as well?
Yes, it was. So that took a lot of distractions off of me, and it was good to see Dougie back there. And sure enough, he throws me a first pitch fastball that I should have crushed.
Yeah.
Or wait, yeah.
I was at that game. I think it was May 1st, 2006. And I want to say when you were in center field, the fans in center field like dumped like fake money on the field.
Yeah, if it were real, I would have just grabbed it, because I still love money. We all love it.
Yeah, why not? And then some idiots in the outfield were holding up signs that said traitor, TRADER. So like they didn't even know how to spell the word correctly. And then you had the police escort chaos going on. What do you remember most about that day? Because like those are obviously the things that stand out, but you probably have some like behind the scenes stuff that happened.
Well, looking back now, I guess you can have all kinds of signs you want in the outfield. Like now they're telling people you can't say certain things. But the most important thing I remember of that day is just, I'd rather get booed by the entire stadium instead of having a couple groups here and there, because when you have a couple groups here and there, you hear everything. Now, when the whole stadium's going, it's so much easier. I remember always playing up in Toronto, and there was always one guy who always yelled at me, and I was like, I mean, he was good, creating jokes, but you hear everything from one person. But getting booed by a lot of people in the stadium, it also makes you realize that you meant something to them, that you gave it your all. And like I said, I love playing there. It hurts, I can't deny that, but you also understand that you're still playing the kids' game. You gave everything to the organization, and now you have to give it to somebody else.
Yeah, and it was a different time. Like we're talking about 2006. So at the time, all you really had was like MySpace, and it was the early beginnings of Facebook. And to get your word out, you either had to go be like an anonymous source and talk to a reporter. Like there was no way for you to have your own voice and go out there and be like, listen, I know you guys are upset that I signed with the Yankees. The Red Sox didn't even make a competitive offer. Like, what would you have done in this position? Like, it must be frustrating, I guess, for the time to want to be able to defend yourself. Because I think logically, when you explain your situation, I don't know that many people are sitting there being like, fuck him anyway. It's like, no, it's like you understand the spot, and it's like, all right, like, what was he supposed to do?
Yeah, well, it's always tough to defend yourself. I mean, always the first story that's out there is always the true story, and you can't really get into it. I'm used to being bashed on the baseball field, so it's kind of like I'm used to it. So you can say whatever you want. I know who I am. I know my character. I know that I get after it. I take care of the fans. I take care of the media, and you know what? They can say whatever they want as long as this smile stays on my face and I keep on rolling. I mean, you get knocked down a lot as a baseball player, as a celebrity, and you get knocked down by sucker punches. But guess what? You get back up. You continue to do your great things, whether it's on the baseball field, in the community, and that was one of those points. It was tough, and got through it. A lot of the fans still love me, so I'm cool with it.
Mm-hmm. Coley?
You talk about one fan or one small group of fans heckling, which reminds me of someone we talk about on this program a lot. Tampa Bay used to, I'm sure you know already who I'm talking about. Tampa Bay they didn't have many fans there to begin with back then, but there was one guy, I believe he sat along the first base line, and the entire game had something for every. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yes, I do. And whenever he picked a certain guy on the team, we all said, please not me today. Please not me today. So if he were picking me, I was going to be like, oh, coach, my leg hurts. The rest of this game. But yeah, he was, at least he wasn't vicious. And that's what we ask. I mean, we played in Philadelphia. You should have heard all the stuff they said about my sister that passed at childbirth. What they did to my daughter and all that stuff. And I'm going, oh my God, my daughter's like 6. And yeah, so Philly was tough, but you also understand that we were a tougher breed of ball players too. We could take it and, deal with it and give them the bird back or whatever we needed to do. Give them the cup check.
Johnny, as a guy that's no stranger to getting booed in his career, because I only played about 10 games and I got booed in every single one of them. I was the same way as you, though. I didn't understand. Like, I was played in Minnesota, and I remember being in the bullpen in Minnesota, or not in Minnesota, in Cleveland, and my bullpen coach just kept throwing people out of the stadium by security because they'd say something. Like, I just never understood why people do that. Do you think it ever goes back to the old school way of baseball where we allow people to say this stuff?
I hope so, but everybody's soft. I mean, nowadays people don't want to hear the truth on what's going on, and like I don't know. We could get into this all day long, but the cancellations of games should happen when a Bob Gibson passes or when a legend or something. Unfortunately, the world has bad things happen all the time, and everybody seems to get caught up in every story now. And I think that's, you have to worry about the stories that affect you, affect your friends. And unfortunately, everyone's, believing that first story out there. And, I hope it gets back to the old days to see what we had to deal with and get these guys tougher again. But I know these guys are playing in a different world. I'm not sure if I would be able to survive playing a season with no fans. It would kind of feel like spring training or a exhibition game the entire season. So you have to commend these players, but we also need to get back to the root of it, and let's go out there and be ballers.
Love that. I feel like that first game back at Fenway, when like you said, the entire ballpark is booing you. Like, yes, it hurts, but that also has to be a rush. No, like getting booed by everyone. It's like, all right, like that has to feel good in like a sinister way almost.
Well, I would love to say hitting that grand slam at Yankee Stadium in 2004, when you silence a stadium, that feels very good. And especially if you take a 6-0 lead, that feels really good. And even in Boston, I had some big hits, and especially heading into September when we won 4 straight against the Red Sox, and we just they ended up finishing in 4th place that year. And then obviously the next year they spent a lot of money, and then and then they win the World Series. And here I am sitting in New York going, oh my gosh, like this is the worst thing you could do. Like, leave a team after a year they end up winning. I guess you can kind of mention like Bryce Harper leaving for Philly, and then the Nationals end up winning. But they also had to make room for Soto, and they have to make room for players, and that's the unfortunate side of the business that a lot of baseball fans do understand. It just stinks for the fans that fall in love with you, and they can't enjoy the Red Sox uniform anymore. They have to boo the Yankee pinstripes.
All right. Did you watch that 07 World Series? Because it's not like you could sit there and say, oh, did I make a mistake? Because it really wasn't an option or a choice for you. Right. But when you're watching that World Series, are you sitting there being like fuck, like I should still be there? Like that's not my fault why I'm not still there.
No, I was just saying, I hope they lose. I hope they lose. I hope they lose.
Yeah, there was no chance that they were losing that World Series.
Right. Understood.
Yeah. Understood.
Yeah, they don't lose World Series, So
no, not anymore. Not
Yeah.
anymore. Yeah, I which is just crazy to say. Like, there are so many fans that are 50 and above that are like, fuck you. Like, you've never seen them lose a World Series.
Right.
It's insane. Coley?
We're talking about not losing World Series. Like, we have a couple of coworkers who are Red Sox fans, and I'm shocked. I think Jared also felt this way. A lot of Red Sox fans thought beating the Yankees in 04, that was the best it was going to be. They thought we were going to lose to the Cardinals. What I thought was going to happen was, after being down 0-3 to the Yankees, completing the comeback, and then when you went up 3-0, I was like, now they're going to lose 4 straight. That's what I thought was going to happen. Going into the World Series, I was like, I don't know. And then after winning the first 3, I was like, no. No, don't do it. Not like this.
Well, I had to get us going in Game 4. The crowd in St. Louis were thinking the same thing about, oh, they just won 4 straight. We can as well. And, I had to make sure I got up to bat, lead off the game with a home run, and then silence them again. And then we were able to cruise. And the fortunate thing with us playing the Cardinals, they had 4 similar style pitchers. Woody Williams, Jeff Stupon,
Marquis.
Marquis, and Carpenter wasn't quite healthy and the way he normally pitched. So we got fortunate to face 4 similar pitchers and, end up winning all those games and, cementing our legacy in Boston. 86 years, man.
It wasn't even fucking close. They didn't even have a lead. I think that was the first time that a team had ever won the World Series where the other team never even held a lead at any point in the game. So 04 happens. You're playing out your 2005 season as a Boris guy who's not known for extensions. Like, that's just not what he does. Like, he's like, he wants his guys to go to free agency. What type of advice or guidance was he giving you going into 2005, if any, about like, hey, like, you're about to be a free agent, like, we need to do X, Y, and Z? Or did he put the ball in your court and say, like, hey, you know, like, if you want to stay here, or were you kind of on the same page where it's like, I want to, you know, everyone wants to feel wanted, everyone wants to be courted at some point?
Yeah, well, I had a talk with Theo, and after we won in 04, I was told that I was going to be a Red Sox for a long time. So I debated on buying a house. And since I was going to be there for a long time, we went ahead and bought a house in Chestnut Hill and built a pool, was finishing the basement. And then we thought they were going to take care of me in spring training of 2005. Then the whole season goes, and I had to pull out of Lloyd's of London insurance policy for the last month of the season. Extra 70 grand out of my pocket just to protect myself. And after that, I said, there's no more hometown discounts. So I was still expecting them to make it work, but then again, Boston was my third team. Been in the league for 12 years. I understand the business side of it. And, like I said, it worked out for both teams. You just weren't expecting it. I wasn't expecting it. I thought for sure I would be back in Boston for at least 4 more years and probably finish up down in Tampa. But, things happen. You move on. It's kind of like breaking up with the next girlfriend,
Mm-hmm.
Go off with your now new trophy wife, and you have a fantastic life.
Mm-hmm. And it could have worked both ways too, because people forget that the Red Sox were like, hey, we're going to put Jacoby Ellsbury in fucking left field to protect his legs and then have Adrian Beltre just running knee him to the ribs and ruin his entire season. So like, it could have worked out where the Red Sox still could have been excited about Jacoby and all the prospects of that while keeping you in house. And we saw obviously what you did in New York. It wasn't like, it's like, all right, Johnny, thank you for everything, but you're past your prime. Like, you're not producing at the same level. That wasn't like, you had some of your best power numbers there. You were able to move around to different positions. You were a game changer in that World Series. Like, everyone remembers like taking 2 bags on the same play. So yeah, like, that's why I guess I'm not bothered that you went to the Yankees. I'm bothered that the Red Sox could have had both and made it work. You had like JD Drew was someone that they signed in 2007, and some people think that was tied into like the Dice case signing. Manny, you mentioned, I mean, they talked about trading him every single year. So yeah, I don't know. I think that there was a way to make it work. Not that I didn't love JD Drew. I did. But it's unfortunate. One of your former teammates just went into the Hall of Fame yesterday. David Ortiz, maybe you've heard of him. He was a big part of those championships as well. What was it like having a front row seat to what he did in 2004? I mean, you were obviously doing your thing as well, and like, they should build the Johnny Damon statue the same way for the Grand Slam and all that. But you got to see the David Ortiz show from beginning to end in 2004. What was that like?
Greatest postseason hitter of all time. I mean, David brought it every single day. His confidence rose so much since 2002 when he was just a pinch hitter coming off our bench. We had Jeremy Giambi as our DH to start the season. As soon as he got in, he started making a difference. In 2003, he was spectacular. But 2004, the legend was made. And having that front row seat and just seeing how he prepared and how simple his stance was, it's spread out and just whack the ball. And I'm glad he's doing great media-wise with all of his businesses. But, I mean, 3 championships for the great fans of Boston. Incredible.
It's insane.
Yeah.
When you see only one guy get in from your era, does that drive you crazy? Does it feel like the writers are trying to erase like a 15-year period of baseball history? Like when guys like Clemens and Bonds don't get in, does it almost devalue the guys who do get in? Like, does it take away from Ortiz?
What I don't think it takes away from Ortiz. I mean, he's definitely the best postseason hitter of all time. But what happened with Bonds and Clemens, I mean, they should be in, and they never failed a test. It was all assumption. And I don't know if they did or not. I was never in a bathroom stall with them or with their doctors or whatnot. So it's all hearsay. And that's how our media is now. It's, oh, I heard about this. Think about Gary Sheffield as well. He's been accused because he used a cream. Like, I don't think I would have known a cream had that kind of benefits. So there's a lot of guys who are out of the Hall of Fame. I mean, I was off the ballot my very first year, going up against all those guys who were possibly juicing. So it's a strange thing. I mean, good thing there's the Ted Williams Hall of Fame for great players, great hitters, but Barry Bonds was perhaps the greatest hitter in that season that he had. I mean, he had over 200 intentional walks. I mean, just ridiculous.
They were walking him with the bases loaded.
Yeah, and Clemens with 7 Cy Youngs. I mean, come on. It's and Pete Rose. I mean, the most hits in baseball. He's not in. Yes, he.
How the hell were you off the ballot after 1 year? You had like 2,800 hits.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, the writers see certain things. They look at my career that I played on teams with good players. Well, I also think I made those players better. I mean, when I got to New York, Jeter's numbers weren't stellar, but the 4 years I was there, his numbers definitely put him back into the MVP race. Everybody who's ever hit behind me or in front of me always had their career years. So, it is what it is. I'm a folk legend. People love seeing me, how I took care of the fans, signing autographs. That is very important to me. And if I am a superstar in a lot of people's eyes, I'm cool with it. Having that ultimate Hall of Fame, obviously it would be fantastic, but I'm not losing sleep over it. I've got great things happening in my life and great family, great friends, and, a lot of people that are in my circle. And I'm happy about that.
I'm curious what your thoughts are, because there's someone I've been pounding the table for to get in. I think he got 41% of the vote this year. I don't understand why he's not automatic Hall of Famer. And as a center fielder, I'm curious your take.
Kenny Lofton.
Andruw Jones.
Andruw Jones. Okay, yeah. I also think Kenny Lofton. Andruw Jones won a lot of Gold Gloves. So did Kenny Lofton. If you start looking at batting averages, Kenny's was higher than, say, Andruw Jones, but teams tend to pitch around you more. And when you make playoff teams, you're not a selfish player. A lot of times I could have just bunted the guy over or thought about myself. But whenever a guy was on second base with nobody out, guess what I did? I would do whatever I could to move him to third base. So the job for the guy behind me is so much easier. And they look at base hits, they look at batting averages, but what wins you baseball games is runs scored and RBIs. And I was able to do quite a bit of that from the leadoff spot. My runs are 30th all time. From the leadoff spot, driving in those runs, whenever you have a leadoff hitter driving in 80 to 90 runs a year, you're going to have a successful team. And fortunately for me, I made quite a bit of playoffs, and I did pretty well. And in the playoffs, you're never going to have outrageous batting average numbers because you're facing the ones and twos. My numbers are pretty darn good.
Yeah, they are. Like, it's insane. And, like, I'm not going to sit here and say, like, yeah, Johnny Damon should be a first ballot Hall of Famer, but 2,800 hits and to fall off the ballot after 1 year is actually insane. Like, I don't understand that whatsoever.
Yeah, so I also played in 140 plus games for 16 straight seasons. Only Willie Mays and Brooks Robinson. Ripken would have been on that list, but there was a strike. But also the 100 triples and the 500 doubles. Only Paul Molitor, Willie Mays, and myself have these crazy numbers with the runs.
That is crazy.
And yeah, so I'm not saying first ballot, sure ballot, but I should have at least been on that list for a few more years.
You should have been given a second, third, fourth look, because you know what it is, Johnny? It's these fucking geeks that look at wins above replacement and they're like, oh, well, if you have to have a 60 WAR to get into the Hall of Fame, and it's like, Harold Baines is in the Hall of Fame. No disrespect to Harold Baines, but he's not like a wins above replacement juggernaut. It's like they looked at other things, which is why I think, like, eventually someday, like, I still think that there is a very good chance that you could get in, but the writers looking at it just is like, well, his wins above replacement isn't this, so that's that. And, like, that's it. Like, that's what it is. That's the evaluation process for a lot of these guys, and it's insane. Like, I feel like I get, like, me and Coley were looking at it last night. Someone made a collage of all of the Hall of Fame voters, like, profile pictures, and it really is a collection of, like, 500 70-year-old white dudes. That's it. Like, it was like, where's Waldo, to try and find, like, a black voter or someone that was under the age of fucking 40. I mean, like, anyone, like, because you have to be in the BBWAA for 10 years just to get a vote. And, like, to even get in the BBWAA, they won't let you in if you're, like, a younger guy. It's insane. Like, the voting process is actually insane. Which, if you can't tell, I am passionate about the Hall of Fame because, like, it matters to me. But one of the things I was saying to Coley last night was, now that Bonds, Clemens, and Schilling, those guys are off the ballot, I don't know that moving forward people are going to care as much, because that was like the lightning rod to spark a conversation was like, oh, are these guys going to get in? Are they not? Are they going to make them sweat it out until the 10th year? Are they going to put them in, or are they never going to get in? And now that that's over, we've closed that chapter. Who really fucking cares? Because of just, like, the inconsistency in which they view these players on the ballot is, like, I just don't understand it at all.
Yeah, this could have been a really good year for baseball, especially with the talks happening with the players and the owners, the looming strike. I think this could have been a very positive thing for baseball, because all the guys who have played baseball, myself and everybody else who has ever played the game, would say Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens need to be in the World Series, or not World Series, the Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame.
They were in the World Series. That was cool. Like, you were actually teammates with Clemens in 07, right?
Oh, what a great day, man. He played a couple months for us and signed that big contract. And you just always heard stories about Clemens, how he talks about himself a lot, but this guy has the most confidence in the world, and he would give his shirt to everybody. I mean, we became great friends. He's called DJ No Request because we do love to sing karaoke, and he doesn't give you a chance to request a song. So I love that guy, and I wish he got into the Hall.
Yeah, he deserves it, but I genuinely believe that he doesn't give a shit. Like, he put out his statement saying, like, we closed that chapter 10 years ago. And then, like, one of his sons on the day, Tuesday, when they were announcing who was going to get in, his son posted a video, and Rocket's just on, like, an arcade game, like, boop, 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 boop. They're like, how is he sweating it out? Like, he doesn't give a shit at this point.
Right. No, he doesn't, because he knows when he walks into a room, people look at him like he's possibly the best pitcher of all time. So he knows it. His confidence level is still there, and the Hall of Fame is not going to dictate how he lives his life. So he's awesome,
Yeah.
and you're right. He doesn't care.
No, nor should he. Nor should he.
Yeah.
Yeah. How often when you were playing did people yell that you had the sweetest ass in the league?
They are still saying it, and thank you. I am still in pretty darn good shape. Maybe
You
not as
are.
good as
You really are.
that but I've got to. I mean, 8 kids running around, getting our drink out there and talking about bringing our A game. I've got to stay busy, and I know 2022 is going to be a lot better than 2021. I mean, that was an absolute disaster.
Yeah, it was for sure. All right. I don't want to take up too much of your time, unless you guys have something.
No, I thought it was great.
Yep.
Yeah, this was awesome. I mean, I went into it being like, by the end of this conversation, we are going to make it a 2022 goal to get Johnny Damon into the Red Sox Hall of Fame, because it is fucking asinine that we even have to suggest that this is a thing. It has been 15 years. How long has it been? Almost 15 years?
Yeah, I've been retired for 10 years now, and it's been about 16 years since I've been on the Red Sox. So,
Yeah.
Hey, I have a question, Jared.
Yes.
How are your forearms looking nowadays?
My forearms are pretty decent. I mean, I'm more of a bicep guy, but my forearms, I'm pretty vascular in the forearms these days.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's good to show off your guns. I mean, it's something
Big time. I mean, these guys, I mean, this is all natty right here. There may be a little bit of creatine, but most of it, that's it. Everyone accuses me of being on the sauce too. And I'm like, hey, thanks for the compliment. We're all natty over here, unless you consider using creatine not being natty. That's the next piece of content that we have to do together. We have to make a workout video together so that people can see how forearms are really built.
Okay, I'm game on. Got to get in a little more shape now. Our soccer season starts in about 10 days from now. And, my goal is to score about 10 of them in 8 games. So
I love that. So you're where? Fort Lauderdale?
No, I am
Orlando.
42 years I've lived here. Yeah, since my dad retired from the military.
Yeah. So you must. Are you sick of Disney, or are you one of the people that's obsessed with Disney, where we have to go 5 times a year?
I would love to go with my kids, but my wife does not like me to go to those places with the family, because I'm a zoo animal, and that's how you can tell if people respected you and loved you. Even Roger Clemens can walk around. He's a zoo animal, but a lot of other players out there, people just don't care about. But when you left a mark on a bunch of fans, and you improve the game and the people around you, I think that's what people love.
Yeah. We love you, Johnny. Thank you so much for taking the time. We'll do this again next time. We're going to do a workout video, and then we'll do another interview after that.
Absolutely. Sounds good, guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Happy 2022. Bring your A game.
A game.
Right.
Send me some. I want to drink some of this.
Will do. All right, guys.
Thank you, Johnny.
Have a good one.
Later. Big thank you to Johnny Damon, 2-time Section 10 guest. Great guy, down-to-earth guy. He's one of those guys that, how much did he make in his career? Is he probably a $100 million guy? Gotta be, right? Maybe close to it.
Has to be. Pat, did you turn your fireplace back on?
No, it's not me.
Oh,
I hear it though.
I think it's Jake's computer fan.
Yeah, thing won't shut up.
Johnny Damon's career.
He had to have cleared 100.
111,689,000 for his career.
That's only 110 million more than me.
It's a lot of money.
Mm.
But you talk to a guy like Johnny Damon, very down to earth, and he doesn't act like it. He doesn't act like a guy that's got that much money.
No, he doesn't.
There are definitely some people out there that make $100 million, and they kind of lose touch. Johnny Damon, not one of those guys. So we appreciate him taking the time. We're going to celebrate the career of David Ortiz. I mean, there was some like David Ortiz career talk in there.
Definitely, but it's the whole conversation is so where it shouldn't be. And I know we just took part in it because we have to. But it's like other people get into the Hall of Fame, and it's just like there was this moment and this moment and this moment, and this is like about guys taking a piss. Like it doesn't seem as what he deserves, and what he deserves is just like, what's the first play you think of when you think of David Ortiz?
Oh my God. That's the thing, is that for me personally, like when you think of David Ortiz, I guess it depends on what your era is. Like I immediately go to 04, but what he did in 13 was like arguably more impressive.
I think
it's just like the championship, I guess, doesn't obviously mean as much as 04,
close.
But it is close. Yeah. I mean, they mean a lot, but for different reasons. And I was there, game 4 of the ALCS in 04. Like, I have like a very personal tie to that game and the walk-off homer. And then he does it again the next night. And then everyone forgets because the Damon Grand Slam. Ortiz homered before that. Ortiz homered
after Damon got thrown out at home.
Yes, Damon got thrown out at the plate to start. I think it was the first inning of Game 7.
Yeah,
I think Manny had not had an RBI all ALCS. We're in Game 7. Manny Ramirez has driven in 0 runs, and he gets a base hit through the left side. Damon's coming around, gets thrown out at home plate. Yankee Stadium is going bonkers. They're like, we got this. Game 7 is ours. Momentum's on our side. David Ortiz, fucking bang. 2 runs, shot. Fuck you. And that was a moment that I think a lot of people forget.
Yeah.
Everyone remembers the walk-off homer in Game 4, the base hit to center field that brought home Damon in Game 5, and then they remember the Damon Grand Slam and then the 3-run homer later. No one remembers that David Ortiz had a fucking bomb in that first inning to set the tone. Like, hey, yeah, you might have just had like a big old crowd pop and you think that this is your night, but actually, fuck you.
Yeah, it's an incredible home run because of what you're saying. Like if any Red Sox team from 1919 through 2003, Ortiz comes up and grounds into a double play there, and the Yankees have all the momentum in their side. Him stepping up and just like he could not have cared less about the history, in a good way, about the history, the moment being too big, like truly never registered in his brain. He was just like, I'm here to ruin your lives if you're on the other team. And he did every single time. I mean, the people of Detroit, the poor people of Detroit, who just like, they've had to live through 120 lost seasons. They've had to live through top picks becoming absolute dog shit. They've had to live as like a feeder system for the New York Yankees. When
they've had to live through living in Detroit.
Right. Like they have to live through Blake Griffin getting there from LA and just immediately shitting all over the place. Like it's not the easiest place to live. And when you have the rotation they have in 2013, where you're winning every game just by just squeezing the life out of the Red Sox lineup. And then fucking Joaquin Benoit struts in from the dugout, from the bullpen. I don't think he'd ever given up a hit to David Ortiz, if I remember correctly, let alone a home run. And first pitch, like, I truly believe people are like, oh, I called that. Like, people say that for, like, LeBron's the biggest. I called that guy on the planet. I think every Red Sox fan did call that David Ortiz grand slam and was still shocked when he did it. Like, it's like when Brady, like, against the Falcons, once it got close, it was just like, oh, Brady's going to pull this off. Against the Seahawks, oh, Brady's going to pull this off. We had that same thought about Ortiz, but it's still shocking when it happens. Like, it's one thing to be like, oh, I'd be sick if he tied the game here with a grand slam. And then to do it was like wasting no time. First pitch, gone. Tie game, Detroit's dead. Like that's all it took. Like, That's what I think at 13, that swing above anything.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that it's crazy that he won a championship in between, and I really don't have any memories of David Ortiz in that 2007 run. I don't.
No,
when I think of 07, I think of the Manny homer. I think of like Mike Lowell won the MVP, but I just remember one home run that he hit in Game 3 or something. Like, I remember Bobby Kelty more than I remember Mike Lowell. Like Bobby Kelty, I think it was fucking Brian Fuentes came in and he hit a bomb to make it 4-0, and then they ended up winning that game 4-3, and that was the clincher. So we had the game-winning homer. I don't really have very many poppy postseason memories from 07.
He hit I think he hit the middle of the back-to-back-to-back home runs in Game 5.
That
when
was
we were down 3-1. I know he hit one of them.
Yeah, that was what, like Euclid, Manny, and Ortiz? Or
Yeah,
JD
it was those three. No, I know it was Euclid at first, and then whichever order. I mean, I feel like Manny and Ortiz kind of always like flip-flopped at their position in the order. Like it always should have been one way, and then it.
I think Manny was the last one because he did the fucking pose, but his home run was to make it like 7-3. It's like, yeah, that's cool, man. That back-to-back-to-back's great and all, but we're still down by a fucking grand slam here. So maybe don't pose and watch it. But yeah, I don't remember a ton about that. And then Ortiz, after the walk-off homer in Game 4, after the walk-off base hit in Game 5, after the Game 7 homer, then he hit a fucking moon bomb in Game 1 of the World Series in 04. Off of Woody Williams. I was about to call him a slapdick. I was like, Woody Williams probably doesn't need to catch any strays on this particular episode. Sure, he's a nice enough guy. But Ortiz comes up and hits a bomb in Game 1 of the World Series. And at that point, it might have been the first inning. It was early. But you're thinking, I mean, Jesus Christ, this guy is just going to keep going. He's going to be the ALCS and the World Series MVP. He's going to carry the Red Sox to a World Series title. What did he even... Because obviously Manny was the MVP in 04.
Ortiz hit 308, 471, 615 with a 1,086 OPS in that World Series. But that was his only home run. He only hit one double. He only had 3 total hits. But those hits, there was only one single. Everything else was for extra bases.
No, he had 4 hits.
Sorry, 4 hits. There were 3 runs. My apologies. So
he was 4 for 13 with a double and a homer. He drove in 4 runs. They walked him 4 times. And he only struck out once. So, he
wasn't striking out.
He had an OPS over 1,000 in every round.
And carried that until that Cleveland series where it dropped to 966.
Yeah.
Like against the Angels that year, he had a 2,418 OPS.
Ortiz went hitless in the first 3 games against Oakland in 2003. And then from Game 4 of the ALDS against Oakland until Game 5 of the World Series against St. Louis in 2013. So we're talking 69 playoff games this stretch. 69 playoff games. 308 plate appearances in the postseason. Again, this ranges from Game 5 against Oakland, the clincher, where they came back. Game 5 against Oakland. No, excuse me. Game 4. Game 4 against Oakland in 2003. All the way to Game 5 of the World Series in 2013. David Ortiz hit .314 with a .429 on-base percentage, a .603 slug. That's an OPS of 1032. 18 doubles, 2 triples, 17 homers, and he drove in 56 runs in those 69 games.
Yeah, pretty good.
In which the Red Sox were 43-26 in the playoffs. It's crazy.
Crazy.
Former teammate, Pat.
Former teammate.
Yeah.
Former teammate. Great guy.
Do you have a favorite David Ortiz story from like your playing days with him?
The one that always comes to mind is and I think I might have mentioned on this podcast before, but it's spring training, and he's walking out of the little cafeteria area eating breakfast, and I'm taking an interview like I always am, So many people were asking for interviews with me, and he came over, put his arm around me and was like, interrupts my interview and was like, "Hey, you're not messing with my guy, right?" Like talking to the reporter. I was like, there's no way he has any idea what my name is. But the thing that was interesting, and he always knew that David Ortiz was like a bigger than life guy, but he stops by for like 4 seconds, leaves, goes on his merry way. And like all the papers back home in New Jersey in Yankee territory are writing about how David Ortiz put his arm around one of our guys. And it was like, it's mind-blowing that he can do that. He can stop by for 4 seconds after eating his breakfast on the way to the batting cages, and he's got 4 or 5 newspapers writing articles, headlining the sports page in Yankee territory about how he did this 3-second thing. That was like, people were texting me about that, and I was like, how do you guys even know this occurred? But that's
when you know that you're not just a star, not just a superstar, but you're an immortal. That's what it means to be a Hall of Famer.
Yes.
You can put your arm around some shit bum reliever and it's front page news in his hometown.
To be fair,
I mean, they've obviously what?
To be fair, at the time, no one knew I was a shit bum yet. At the time, I was still considered a guy people were excited about.
I was excited. I'm still excited about you, Pat.
Same.
I mean, every time I see you, I get excited.
Did you see my tweet? This is not relevant to anything we're talking about, but did you see my tweet? I've had a lot of dreams lately of me going back and playing. And I had recently had a dream that I went back to spring training, but the Mariners, I was on the Mariners team, and I was just like, nope, I'm going to Red Sox spring training. Just full Mariners gear because that's the only gear I had. And I was like, no, I don't want to play for you guys. I'm gonna go over here and play for the Red Sox.
Interesting.
Are you nasty in your dreams?
Unbelievable.
I guess, there'd be nightmares if you weren't.
Wake up sweating.
Yeah, you're like, oh, God, not again.
God, why do I keep doing this?
I was flipping through Pat's Facebook pictures last night.
Facebook?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know we were friends on Facebook.
Oh, we're friends on Facebook. I was telling Coley the story about way back in the day when the Red Sox would draft guys. I would try and find them on Facebook and add them, kind of like what I do now with Instagram, really. Like if you get drafted in the first few rounds, like I'll add you on Instagram to try and build that relationship early so that you're a Section 10 guy. I mean, now it's a little bit different. Now you get traded to the Red Sox and you message me and you come on the podcast the second that you get traded to the organization.
Correct.
But before, this was the 09 draft, Coley?
I think so, yeah.
So the 09 draft, their third rounder, his name was David Renfro. And I added him on Facebook and sent him this very nice message to which he did not respond. And then I looked and I was like, oh, he actually unfriended me on Facebook. We were friends. He did accept my friend request back then, but I did send him a message. Actually, you know what? I'll read it.
Please read the message.
I'm going to read
There's a very funny detail that I need the people to hear.
I'm going to read the message.
David Renfro is still a friend of mine on Facebook.
Yeah, that's
how we got to the pictures.
Correct.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's how I was like, oh, I have 4 mutual friends with him, and one of them is Pat Light and one of them is BJ.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't I find him now? Oh, is this him? Yeah. Okay. So this was on June 15th, 2009. So this couldn't have been, it might have been the same day as the fucking draft. I don't know. Hey, David. I just want to say congrats on getting drafted. I write for a site called Sockspace, and I was wondering if you'd be interested in doing a little Q&A so that I could help introduce you to the fans. I watched a video on RedSox.com of the top 3 picks, and I was by far the most impressed with you. You have a sweet swing. I'm 20 myself, and I'm a pitcher, but you have some serious talent. Let me know if you're interested, and I'll whip something up. Jared. I don't know why I told him I was a pitcher. Maybe it was like, maybe it was to say like I'm not some fucking geek journalist. Like I actually play baseball too. So like, hey, like I'm not one of the nerdy ones. But at the time, I was definitely a fucking huge dork.
Right. I can tell you from experience. For some reason, everyone that messages you to get a interview tells you what position they play.
It's so funny. Like you're like, yeah, I've thrown a baseball before. Let's be friends. Yeah. Like that's what you said. Like it's like you are also in the organization is how it comes off. Like I'm in Salem. It'd
be like DMing David Ortiz, but in Spanish. It's like I am also a speaker of the language, but I may have used Google Translate, but you know I speak the language, so we're cool now.
If Aaron Neesmith gets drafted and it's like, yeah, I played some center. He's just like, what? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Well, I can confirm with you. At least I can't say now. I haven't spoken to him in 10 years probably, but I wasn't a huge fan when I played with him. Yeah.
I mean, anyone that gets a message like that and doesn't even respond and then unfriends me, fuck you.
He was like a bully. It was like weird. I was like, dude, you're trying to bully people and like you're trying to bully me. Like, what the fuck? We're not in middle school. Like, what
did he do?
I can't remember off the top of my head. I just remember being like, this guy's a fucking loser. You're not that good. Like
he wasn't good.
No, I don't know who the fuck this guy thinks he is, but he's over there trying to bully people. I was like, this guy's got probably such a fucking low ego and such low self-esteem that he has to do this. That he was drafted in whatever round it was.
Third.
Never made it past A-ball, I don't think.
No.
And it's like, okay, listen, your career didn't go the way you wanted it to. Neither did mine, big guy. But we're all here. So it
sounds like this
I
happened
use
last
alcohol
week.
like an adult to get over my problems.
Yeah, alcoholism. But it wasn't. It was. I don't even remember. I think it was in 2013 when I was hurt because I don't think I was ever actually physically on his team. But I remember that. I remember like comparing him to fucking Daniel Bard, who's sitting next to me, and Ryan Kalish, two of the nicest fucking people in the world, have done tremendous amount more than this idiot did. And
I feel like you were gonna go cocksucker there, but you didn't.
Well, the guy was. There's no two ways about it. He was a douche for absolutely no reason. I'm a very nice gentleman.
Super nice.
I'm very sarcastic and I'll fuck with you, but I'm a very nice person. I never push the envelope really. I fuck with you in nice ways, but like this guy was just like dude, fuck off, man. You're nobody.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't have remembered him at all if it wasn't for me kind of just keeping up with the draft in 2009 and sending him a Facebook message. But
imagine if like Peter Gammons was like, I play shortstop.
I was 20.
Peter Gammons was 20 at one point.
Listen, it's people in that age group, Jared, and younger, like high school kids trying to do something in the blog world or something like that. It's always those people that say it. I never think anything of it. I just assume that they're younger.
Yeah. I mean, in 2009, like the last year of organized baseball that I played was in 2010. So in 2009, that Jared probably still thinks like, I got a shot. Like it may not be a great one, but like there's still a chance that someone comes down into fucking Saugus and sees this and is like, we need to get this guy on a deal somehow. The dream was still alive. So that's why I didn't say I was a pitcher. I was like, I am also a pitcher.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, no,
Yep.
you very much said it like I'm getting drafted next round.
Yeah. Like, yeah, just if you find any good places to live in Greenville, let me know. Like, I'm curious.
You trying to bunk? You trying to room?
Yeah.
It is kind of like I feel like we all know a lot of people who've been drafted into the MLB. So like if you were like very serious, I'm not talking about Jared specifically, but if you were like a serious baseball player and you didn't get drafted back when there were hundreds of rounds, like you truly stunk at baseball.
Mm-hmm.
They'd take a flyer on anyone.
Mm-hmm. I mean, what round did Mike Piazza get taken in? Like the 60-something round?
At 45th or something like that.
Yeah,
Maybe he might have been in 50th.
Pujols was way down there.
Because there was only 50 rounds.
Mike Piazza was drafted in the 62nd round.
Oh wow, I didn't know that. I didn't know it ever got higher than 50. It must have changed even when I was playing.
In the 1988 MLB draft, out of college, he was
Senior
taken
sign.
in the 62nd round. Hall of Famer with the help
Hall
of
of Famer.
steroids.
You just
Yep.
never know in baseball.
Yeah. I mean, I bet you David Renfro regrets not answering that Facebook message.
He could be on this podcast.
Could be here right now.
He's not as electric as I am.
No.
It's true.
It was funny. I was on the phone with Coley last night, and I was like, his name was like Hunter something. I was like, I can't sound like he's got to be Hunter. I can't remember his last name. And I was like brushing my teeth, and then it came to me, and I was like, actually, his last name is Renfro. I was thinking of Hunter Renfro. It's not Hunter Renfro. His name is not Hunter. It's something Renfro. Found him.
Yeah, I looked through 10 drafts and found only one other person named Hunter, and Jared was like, "Nope, not him."
No, it couldn't be. Was it Hunter Renfro?
No, it was a different Hunter.
I didn't even know the Red Sox drafted Hunter Renfro at one point.
They did.
That was a good stretch, Pat.
Great stretch.
Mm-hmm.
What did you work out?
I did back and abs, and I did a little sprint work.
Sprint?
Little.
Yeah, I got to get the heart rate really high and then bring it back down and then get it really high again and then bring it back down, then really high one more time, then bring it back down and then sprint home to be on time for a podcast because God forbid I'm late again.
Mm-hmm.
I have every person on any post, whether relevant to Section 10 or not, telling me, hey, at least that fucker was on time for podcast, Pat. And then have a smoothie only to sit there with Jake and do my laundry talking about microphones and then put him and then be cut off. I can't even finish my laundry. It's still there. And then, get settled up for the podcast. So I was really excited about that.
Listen, you did a great job.
Thank you. Yeah, and back feels great. Got the lats in, got the lat pull down. Did a little twisty Johnson rod for my abdominals. Then got
I love that machine. That machine rules.
The twisty Johnson rod?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The TJR, as they're called. But,
Johnson.
Don't you just do that with a medicine ball?
You can.
You can, but the big guys, because the medicine, you don't have 70-pound medicine balls that I'm aware of, at least not at this gymnasium that I go to. So you have to do the twisty Johnson rod in order to do it.
Can you imagine how massive a 70-pound medicine ball would be?
see someone picking it up.
Yeah, just casually. A boulder. We're talking about a boulder.
Yeah. Excuse me, where's the boulder section here?
Yeah.
You're telling me you can't get a nice little ab burn with a 10-pound medicine ball?
Oh no, I'm sure I could, but in a time crunch, you need to get some higher
Kick it up a
weights.
notch.
And actually, I'm not a big high rep guy. I like to get in and get out. So I prefer the heavier weight. So I'm doing depending on what the weight is, between 6 and 10 reps for 6 sets, rather than doing 30 Russian twists for 6 sets.
I feel that. It's tremendous.
Tremendous.
Hmm.
Beach season coming up.
Yeah.
Single Pat's back. So
Yeah.
we
Single
are.
Pat's back. Single Jared's still here.
Still here.
Still here.
Unemployed, Jared.
Unemployed. Single Jared. Just I'm actually going to Arizona next week. Kevin Pilecki's having a little golf tourney. So I'll be
Looking for work.
I'll be looking for work. Well, I mean, I would be a great golf cart guy.
That's
They
a
have
job.
those?
That's a job, yeah.
Like if you like if they didn't want guys, like you're basically like the golf designated driver. If guys really want to get hammered while they're out there golfing, like I just drive the cart so that they don't get a DUI on the. You can definitely get a DUI on a golf cart, right?
Yeah, I don't think they have like cops patrolling the course though.
I think you have to be on a street, like where those rules apply.
Okay.
Like I don't think like if you I don't think that like you can have a golf cart in your backyard, be hammered, and the cops see you and be like, "Hold on, wait a minute, let me get you." You have to be endangering the public.
I think you could get like an OUI in that circumstance because like you aren't like technically supposed to operate things when you're inebriated. But you're right. I don't think you can get like a DUI. I think it's just like much less severe punishment.
Yeah, you can get like a OUI on a fucking bicycle.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
UMass loves that. They'll give out an OUI for walking, like while you're impaired. Like they don't give a fuck. They're gonna ticket you one way or another. They're gonna ticket you.
They're gonna get you.
That's cool. Well, hopefully I get a job doing that.
Listen, I got plenty of jobs for you down here at Big Sam's.
Oh, I would love working at Big Sam's as well. I don't know that I would want to move to Hoboken, but maybe I will. I don't know. I'm a Rolling Stone.
You don't have to. We'll do virtual. Work from home. Sushi making.
What if I worked from home for Big Sam's, but kind of how like the football show that we have with Dion, where they just put like a screen on a mannequin's head. Like I could work the front desk because I mean, no one's paying cash anymore. Like everyone's paying card. So they can come in, they can order their sushi, and I can put it in the register and tell them how much their order is. Then they just have to put their card in the thing, and then someone else comes and sits them down.
I think that's a tremendous idea.
Mm-hmm. Work for Big Sam's Sushi, but from home.
Or from home. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I work the desk from
Work the desk. You're the
Boston.
host.
Yeah.
You're the host. Welcome to Big Sam's. I'm Jared.
Right. What can I get for you today?
Yeah.
Ah, sushi. No way.
Table for four. I
Table
get that.
4.
I will have my assistant come over and seat you.
Mm-hmm. 4 sushis coming right up.
Right up.
Yeah. Yep. I'm excited. I mean, is this the interview?
Oh, you got the job.
Oh, fuck yeah. This is great.
Welcome to Big Sam's.
Thank you. What's the dress code? Thank you. What's the dress code?
Well, you only have to worry about from this up.
Right.
So just, you know what, wear whatever you want.
Okay.
We'll dress the mannequin as such.
Okay.
And then you're good. Just make sure only we see neck up.
Neck up, and then like how would you even do that on a screen like this? Like how close would you have to get?
We'll just crop you.
Too close.
Welcome to Big Sam's.
That works.
Too close?
Just make sure you introduce yourself as well.
Tad close.
I mean, whatever. I'm excited to be part of the Big Sam's family.
Excited to
Now,
have you.
is part of being a Big Sam's employee like? Is he Big Jared now? Like, does is everyone who works there Big?
Yes.
Their name.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm Big Jared.
You're Big Jared.
Big J.
Big Jerry.
Welcome.
I mean, this is tremendous. It's good to be employed again.
Yeah.
You know, it's been a while since I've been able to eat hot food.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's tough being at a sushi spot.
That's true. So the streak continues.
You should try. You know what, Jared? I feel like you would love HelloFresh for
That would
this.
be perfect if I could get some hot food from HelloFresh.
You know?
Yeah.
If you were just hammering some HF.
The H?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think that sounds like the perfect way to solve my problems of not having a ton of money to spend, but also wanting great food.
I can't think of another solution. I think this is the only solution.
You think it's HelloFresh?
Oh, yeah.
I think it's crazy because the new year is a great time to focus on what's most important to you. And for me, I think prioritizing my wellness, learning to cook, and ordering less takeout, those are all things that I'm trying to prioritize. And HelloFresh is here to help me with all that, with endless options to make cooking at home simple and enjoyable. And HelloFresh delivers pre-portioned ingredients to your door, including farm fresh produce that arrives within a week. Think about that convenience. So you can have the convenience without skimping on quality. Skip the trip to the grocery store, saving you the wait and the long holiday lines and ensuring that you don't waste money on excess food. And HelloFresh, they cut back on time spent in the kitchen so you can spend it on your other New Year's resolutions with meals ready in about 30 minutes or less. Plus, quick and easy meals, including 20-minute recipes and low prep and easy cleanup options, provide an even faster route to putting food on the table. And don't forget dessert. Satisfy your sweet tooth with seasonal limited time goodies like Dunkaroos cookie dough or Vanilla Delight cheesecake. HelloFresh is 72% cheaper than a restaurant meal of the same exact quality. And you can save, on average, over $65 per month when you order HelloFresh instead of grocery shopping. That is more money to put towards those other 2022 goals of yours. HelloFresh offers 50 menu and market items to choose from every single week, including veggie, calorie smart, family-friendly, and gourmet options, providing plenty of variety. Recipes like hibachi, sweet soy, bavette, steak and shrimp. Bring restaurant quality meals right to your kitchen, while their white cheddar Wonder Burgers make it easier than ever to skip the takeout. HelloFresh offers the flexibility that you need to easily customize your online order or in the app. Easily change your delivery day, food preferences, and plan size, or skip a week whenever you need to. Wow. HelloFresh is the real deal. They've changed my life. They've changed Pat's life. Jake, I know, is a big HelloFresh guy. Coley lives in the mountains, so he just goes out and kills animals in the woods and brings them back on his back, and it's a whole to-do. But sometimes he dabbles with HelloFresh.
Oh, yeah.
And you can dabble yourself by going to HelloFresh.com/section16 and use the promo code section16 for up to 16 free meals and 3 free gifts. That is HelloFresh.com/section16.
Love it.
You know, fuck yeah. What were we talking about before that? Oh, me working at Big Sam's. Oh, we were talking about the golf tournament. Golf tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't golf. I actually fucking hate golf. It's not that I hate golf. I hate golfers.
Okay.
Yeah, the golf. Yeah, Pat likes to golf. I'm just saying, like, the golf industry don't love it. You know?
Maybe the reason why.
Mm,
Let's unpack that.
you know, I just don't love it. This doesn't pass the sniff test. You know?
Mm-hmm.
There's a young woman on TikTok
Uh-huh.
who has made it her life's mission to cancel golf courses. Some of the facts she brings to the table, I had no idea about. The way she paints the picture, you could argue golf courses is the most detrimental thing that have ever happened to the planet. Like, some of the facts she brings to the table about how, like, the irrigation systems that they use to maintain these courses waste, like, more water than you'd ever imagine. The areas that could be public land are literally walled off and given to such a small portion of the country. Like, I'm ruining her argument for her, but she has about 1,000 of these fucking things where she's just going in on golf as a whole, and I would vote for her.
I support it. Ban golf. Ban golf. Get it out. Shut it down. What, Pat? You like to golf?
Yeah, I
Find something else to do, dude.
the thing
Get a
is,
job.
Bowl.
I just hired you.
Yeah. I know, but like you clearly could be doing more. Am I wrong?
I'm doing a lot.
Yeah, you're doing a lot, but if you're golfing, you could clearly be working.
Well, listen, golfing is networking.
Golfing takes a long time.
It does. It takes quite a bit of time.
Too much time, some people are
Too
saying.
much time.
Good workout,
No, it's
Yeah.
not.
The course that I just joined is...
I hope they shut down tomorrow.
A fire
Shut it
sweeps
down.
through the entire
Mhm.
course.
Mm-hmm.
Well, with the irrigation system they have, they would never catch fire.
Mm-hmm.
But it's walking only. So it's 7 miles and 60 stories uphill.
That's
Terrible.
stupid.
Sounds awful.
Great workout, though.
Just go to a gym, dude.
I do, but I want to mix it up.
No. Shut it down.
Mm.
Ban golf 2022. Get it out of here.
Do you think you could beat either Jared or myself in mini golf?
Yes, I believe I can.
Ooh, wrong. No, you can't.
Not a
Yes.
chance. Not a
Not a
chance.
chance.
A, we would mentally dominate you, which is like
That's
more
true.
than half
You're
the
fragile.
battle. And B,
Excuse me?
if
Mhm.
your putting is anything like your strike zone location, like,
Okay.
forget
all
about
over the
it.
place.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, big time play it where it lies, guys, too. So like if you happen to chunk one and it ends up on the fucking cart, you're gonna have to play it as it lies.
I'm 100% in on that.
Okay.
Mhm.
But as a whole, fuck golf. But mini golf,
Rules.
we'll play you in mini golf too, and the loser gets 100% stake in Big Sam's.
100%.
100%, yeah.
100%. Okay.
Yeah. I don't. What's your percentage ownership of Big Sam's?
I don't have a large percentage of Big Sam's.
All right. What's the number?
You want me to dive into my financials
Yeah.
on the podcast?
Yeah. How? I mean, we're friends. We're all friends here.
We're all friends.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I mean, you trying to say that you're not friends with the listeners of the 10?
I'm 100% friends with listeners to the 10s.
All right.
The
So
10.
then you'd have no problem them
Well-
being aware of your financial situation.
Well,
How
you
much money do you have in your savings right now?
know. How much do you make before taxes?
Yeah.
I have money,
How much though? Specifically.
a solid amount.
How many money?
How many money do you have?
What is going on?
It's a new segment. It's called How Much Money Does Pat Have?
Funny story about this, actually.
Yeah.
I was sitting at a restaurant, and I went to the bar area because I was going just with one of my buddies, so we just hang out over there. And actually, I take that back. This was not a time I was with a buddy. I was with a nice young lady, and we were sitting
Not a
there,
friend.
and-
Making it clear, not a friend at all.
no, she's a friend. It just wasn't like a buddy of mine. It was,
Mhm.
you know,
Did you kiss her?
I not at the bar, at the restaurant. No.
Ever? Have you ever kissed her before?
Yes.
Okay.
Which hole?
Okay.
All right.
Anyway, the bartender knew about Green Rock, Big Sam Sushi, and Mick Swilbos, and who I don't even know this lady's name. And she came over, started chatting me up, and poured me a nice beverage, and starts just diving in. It's like, oh, so what's your percentages at each place? How are they doing? Or are you guys doing? What kind of numbers are you guys doing? And I was just like, ma'am, I don't even know who you are.
Yeah.
And why are we doing this right now?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not the first time this type of thing has happened. Although Section 10 listeners are much closer to me than this young lady behind the bar.
Correct.
But diving into my personal finances on one of the biggest, the biggest Red Sox podcast in the country.
Yep.
Yeah.
Arguably, like it has ranked as number one baseball podcast overall a couple of times. A few times.
So
Yeah. It's definitely the best baseball podcast.
No doubt.
It doesn't always rank as number one, but like it's number one in your hearts. It's America's most beloved podcast.
No doubt.
Mm-hmm. All right, but you didn't answer the question. How much money do you have right now in your savings account? I feel like it's not even a lot. Because I'm not asking like what money you have tied up in investments. I'm just saying if you needed to withdraw from your bank account right now, how much do you have available to you?
I have plenty available to me.
So you have probably too much money in your savings then.
As you know, there is a investment coming up that I need quite a bit of money. Mm-hmm. So there is some money.
Pat's buying a strip club. Pat. As a about to be strip club owner, how do you go about finding the dancers?
Craigslist.
That seems like you're skimping on the quality of the dancers. What's it going to be called?
I told you this once before. Do you remember what I told you?
No, I don't remember at all.
Coley, didn't you say something once?
I think it was what was it?
Yeah.
I remember being like, that's it.
So do I. I remember doing
that. It was Salty Tom's Gentlemen's Club.
Salty Tom's. Yeah. Salty Tom's. Yeah, Salty Tom's Gentlemen's Club is getting added to the portfolio.
I just love right now that I'm watching Jake write down on his legal pad that at this time Salty Tom's Gentlemen's Club came up.
I mean, you want to spread the word.
Gotta spread the word.
Right. Yeah, I mean, this is exciting. We can do, I don't know like how that works in terms of like if we did a live Section 10 at Salty Tom's, like how, like would the dancers get pissed that the focus wasn't on them, or do we kind of just do our live podcast and then at the end of the night we're kind of like, all right, make sure you tip the girls?
I would have you guys integrated into the dancing. So like the stage, and then we'll have poles and areas for dancing to happen. You guys are just middle stage, and the dancers are around you.
Okay.
Possibly on top of a desk that we're sitting behind.
Right.
We want them to feel included.
Yeah. We could definitely put like a folding table on the stage so that they're still doing what they do, but we're talking socks.
Yeah. Salty Tom's.
Salty Tom's Gentlemen's Club. Yeah, baby. That's gonna be good. When's the grand opening?
My birthday, March 29th.
Okay. So that's soon-ish. It's a lot sooner than I anticipated. And this is something you've been working on for quite some time, keeping it under wraps.
Yeah, and now it's out.
Now it's out. People know. So put that in your calendars. March 29th. Salty Tom's. It's coming to town. Pat's birthday a few days before mine. We should combine birthdays this year.
Boom. And at the grand opening of Salty Tom's.
Right. You're gonna be what, 31?
31, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're at the point now where once you hit 30 for a round number birthday, like who gives a shit after that? So
Yeah, 30 is the only meaningful birthday. Now we're just getting older.
that's it.
Yeah.
And
I
we
look
can have
great,
it at Salty
though.
Tom's. Yeah, you look great.
As do you.
Yeah, we're aging tremendously.
Some would say the best.
Yeah. I mean, I would say I'm in my prime right now.
As am I.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, you're doing tremendous. But anyways, I'll be at this little golf shindig not this weekend, the weekend after.
Where'd you say it was?
It's in Arizona.
Scottsdale?
Scottsdale.
Love that.
Mm-hmm. Be in Scottsdale. And Ploecki, me, Beebs will be in a cart. I'll get to see Bob, Benny, Biceps, Pedroia. I don't know. Like, how good do you think Pedroia is at golfing?
Very.
You think so?
Yeah.
He's one of those guys who just figures it out.
Yeah. I can't picture him being good at golf though.
Wow.
I think he can drive off the tee, but I can't see him. Like, no offense, I don't think his short game's good.
Wow.
No,
That was uncalled for.
that was. I will say though that when I was playing golf with those guys in the big leagues, he was never there. He was not one of the guys that like went golfing. Although position players don't typically do that much anyway, but
Yeah, I feel like that's more of a pitcher thing.
Mookie would go. Travis Shaw was a big golfer. But for the most part, the rest of them were pitchers.
Mookie went?
Mm-hmm.
Anytime that you see one of those highlight reels of Mookie being athletic, it's always like, he can play basketball and he plays baseball. Look at him. He's a wide receiver and he bowls. I've never seen a video of him playing golf.
Yeah, I mean the only thing that's ever popped up in the history of his golf and the history of his baseball career was with me when he drove me and his golf cart into the water. Yeah,
That was you?
that was me and his golf cart.
I remember that.
Yeah, so do I. My keys and wallet still at the bottom of that lake.
What was that in Fort Myers?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if the golf course is in Fort Myers, but we were in spring training.
I know I blogged about that.
It was me, Travis Shaw, Mookie, and Devin Marrero.
Here it is. This was February 15th, 2016. Mookie Betts accidentally rolled a golf cart into a pond. Travis Shaw was the one that tweeted the picture. And Mookie tweeted, yeah, no more driving for me. Devin Marrero tweeted a video. Mookie Betts is to playing baseball as Mookie Betts is to playing bowling. Hanley Ramirez is to playing first base as Mookie Betts is to driving golf carts. That seems like mean.
Yeah, he was much better at first than Mookie was at driving carts.
But I think that this was
Before
he ever
actually
played.
it.
Yeah. If the Red Sox win the World Series this year, I can honestly see this being a new tradition. Every spring, Mookie Betts, Travis Shaw, Devin Marrero, and Pat Light can get together and Mookie can drive a golf cart into a pond. It's metaphorical. It's almost like a Viking funeral, but instead of shooting flaming arrows at a boat on the water, they can just sink a golf cart in the middle of a pond. It's how they let go of last season and start to look forward to the next one. It's beautiful and poetic, really. Mookie said, for the record, I didn't drive into the pond. It rolled in there. Just clearing that up.
It's true.
But Mookie's got to own this here. If Marrero is going with the hashtag Mookie can't drive, and Shaw goes with the caption when Mookie drives, and your own caption was, yeah, no more driving for me, then don't tell me you didn't drive this golf cart into the pond. If you really didn't drive it into the pond when everyone else who was there, including yourself, said that you did, then I'm going to need an explanation for how this actually went down. Quote, it rolled in there sounds like something that a kid would say after they got caught red-handed by their parents and they are throwing up a Hail Mary excuse to avoid getting their Xbox taken away for a week.
I can certainly tell you how it happened.
I actually took a ricochet shot at Scott Zolak because he quote tweeted it and said, "Oh my God, that is so funny, trashing a golf cart on a golf course. Bet the CEO of that course thought it was a hoot." And I said, "P.S. How about Zolak giving Mookie shit for this? If Gronk did this, he would be laughing his ass off." That's probably true.
Definitely.
And then Travis Shaw responded to Zolak and said, "Yeah, we did it on purpose."
Sounds like something Travis would say.
And then Pat Light tweeted, "It goes without saying, but I don't have a phone until Tuesday. Get a hold of me another way."
Yeah, phone, wallet, and I thought my keys were actually in my car.
Okay. All right. So what happened?
So I don't remember what hole it was, but we were on a particular hole. We all hit our tee shots. We're actually now all on the green, and Mookie looks at us and goes, Mookie was a little bit off the green, and he needed his pitching wedge or whatever wedge he wanted to use. And he goes, "I don't fucking have it. I must have left it on the hole prior." And I was like, "Okay, take the cart. We'll finish up, and you take the cart, and we'll wait for you." So he takes the cart, and then the next thing I know is Travis goes, "Pat, is that Mookie?" And I turn, and Mookie is standing on our tee box for now our hole, like doing one of these. And then we look, and he goes, and so I was like, "I'm not fucking going over there. What the fuck's he talking about? You come back here. Why are we coming there?" And so then after a few seconds of this, Travis was like, "Just take the cart. Something must have happened." And so I was like, "All right." So I took Travis and Devin's cart, and I drive over there, and the cart is now halfway submerged in the lake. And Mookie's in full panic mode. And he's like, "Dude, someone was teeing off. It was a par 3. My club was on the green, and I really did a quick U-E, hit the brake, and jumped out to grab the club, so I didn't stop them. But if you've ever played golf, there's on the brake, there's like a portion of the brake that is just the brake, and then there's a parking brake where it stops the car and it can't go anywhere. He never clicked that in. So it was on a hill, and he ran out, grabbed the club, turns around to go back, and the cart is rolling into the lake. And so now he's in full panic mode, telling me, like, "Pat, have you ever done this?" I go, "No, Mookie, I've never fucking done this." And he was like, "Oh, well, what's going to happen?" I go, "I don't fucking know. I've never fucking done this before." And he was like, does this thing happen? I go, "Literally never seen it." And so then I go take the cart back, and I go pick up Devin and Travis. I go, "Fucking golf carts in the lake." They're like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, guy fucking let the fucking thing roll into the lake." And I was like, my wallet's in there, my phone's in there, his shit was in there. And so we go back, and then the people come, and we're like, "We'll finish our round." I don't know if we finished our round because Mookie was really flustered. And I think we went back. He had to pay for the golf cart, and he bought me a new phone, which is very nice of him. He was richer than I was, but
I mean, in 2016,
he was winning the big leagues.
Well, yeah, but like, what
I was in sale. Oh, 20. It wasn't 2016. This happened, was it?
Yeah.
Oh wow, I was in big league camp. I didn't know that. I thought I was still in minor league camp.
This was it was
maybe
February
I was already.
2016.
Oh, okay, so no, I wasn't already sent down. Close though.
Mookie, let's see. Mookie, I mean, yeah, he had made about $1 million. 2015 he made $514K, and then 2016 he made $566K. Well, now he has $82 million.
Yeah. Yeah, so he could afford my new iPhone.
Yeah, he's banked $82 million, and he's got $342 coming. Yeah, good for him.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't think I ever played with Mookie again.
yeah, I could see that being a bad omen. You know, you sink a golf cart to the bottom of a lake, and it's like, well, I can't drive with that guy anymore, even though it's his fault. I remember him freaking out about it on Twitter, and I mean, I didn't take any. That was probably the first time I ever blogged the name Pat Light.
Probably was.
I'm surprised that there were no cheap shots in there. I didn't like you then.
I'm surprised too.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I saw last time I saw Devin Marrero was probably like the Super Bowl party in Miami a couple of years ago.
What a guy.
That was the clique back then. Was like Mookie, Devin. It was all like the first round guys. Obviously, he's boys with Hosmer. Did you see that fucking wedding? The Hosmer wedding?
No, I didn't see it.
It was like $2.5 million wedding, and it was at like the Berkshires, and they brought them out on like thrones, and they did crowns. It's like, Jesus Christ. If I ever get married, which I don't know if that's gonna happen, I might not go to the reception. I hate all that shit. What'd you say?
I could see that happening.
What, me not going to the reception?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was like, I'll go to the ceremony and I'll do all that stuff. But if there's some sort of big celebration where people, like, I'm the focal point, I mean, obviously, like, the girl is more of the focal point, but as the groom, you're the 1B to the 1A for sure. I don't want that. I don't want that at all.
Who would?
You?
I want that.
I feel like if you got married, you would throw like a big time party.
Depends how rich I am.
Well, I mean, you won't tell us how much money's in your account.
Well, I'm nowhere near to getting married, so.
That's true. But how much is in your savings account?
Nothing. I don't keep money in a savings account.
Oh, so then that was what I was saying. It was like, I wasn't asking how much money you have tied up in investments.
No,
in
I
assets.
have money. It's not in a savings account.
Right. Right. Because you're smart.
And they're not in assets either. It's just a different type of account.
So you have offshore accounts.
In Switzerland, yes.
Yes. So your money's making money.
Always. Always, baby.
Mm-hmm. Money's got to make money for you.
Mm-hmm.
What was like when you got your bonus? Did you make any regrettable purchases? Did you buy something where you're like, why the fuck did I buy that?
No.
What'd you buy? Just like a car, truck?
My parents had already bought me a car, so I didn't buy that. I technically purchased this home with my family, but that wasn't regrettable. Solid decision.
Yeah.
I can only remember one real thing that I thought, looking back, I'm like, that was a bit much.
Mm-hmm.
And that was when I got traded from Minnesota to Pittsburgh in a weekend in Miami. And I think it was 2 days, maybe, or 3 days. I spent like $35,000 on parties. That was a bit much.
How do you spend $35,000 on parties that like you're not hosting?
Well, we just went out to clubs and stuff like that, and I'm a very generous person.
Uh-huh.
I always prefer. It sounds weird, but even on one of the parties went to SLS in Miami, and I think my tab before tip was $17,000.
What?
Yeah.
How many fucking people were on it?
I don't remember. We had a whole big bachelorette party with us. We had a few of my teammates from Minnesota with me.
You're a guy. Are guys allowed on bachelorette parties?
Well, bachelorette parties typically just latch on to guys who are going to spend a ton of money, so they don't have to spend any money.
Aha. And that idiot was you.
I was in my own world. I wasn't even trying to hook up with them. I was just so pissed at what Minnesota had just done, and then they couldn't get away with
you.
It. No, they DFA'd me literally at the baggage claim when I landed for spring training, and the only reason they were doing it was they were trying to sneak me through waivers so they could keep me and not put me on the 40. So they were trying to be little fuck faces, and it didn't work. Pittsburgh came and picked me up. So I was so fucking happy about it. I was like, go fuck yourselves. So I'm just going to go fucking crush it in Miami. And that's exactly what I did.
It's like finding out that your girlfriend is fucking someone else. So you immediately just go out and spend a bunch of money as retail therapy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Something like that.
Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I'm glad you had a good time.
It's a great time. And like I said, if I pay the bill, I never feel uncomfortable, which is what I'd much rather spend a ton of money than sit there and feel like someone else feels like I'm using them.
You know what, Pat? I want to treat you to a nice evening.
We could go to the Grand.
Yeah, let's go to the Grand. Sometime in 2022, whether it's in Boston or it's in Hoboken, maybe it's in neither. Maybe we're on the road somewhere. Maybe we travel for something.
Maybe.
But one night, I want to treat you like a fancy little queen.
Mm. Okay, I am a fancy little queen.
Yeah. Like I want to spoil you.
Thank you,
Pat. When you reach into your wallet to grab, I assume you pay with like a credit card, debit card, perhaps. Is there anything else in there that you reach for at the end of the night?
Yeah.
Oh,
Like maybe if you're bringing home a fine young lady that you want to,
Or we don't.
or yeah, sure.
listen, judgment-free zone.
Well, I'm
Super
aware of
judgment-free.
Pat's sexual preference. This is not a hypothetical about a fictional character.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unless Pat was curious.
Listen, experiment a little bit.
Who
Let's have
is
some
it?
fun.
Yeah,
Let's have some fun. That's what I'm saying.
But yeah, I always have Roman strips with me.
What are those?
So funny you ask, Goalie.
I'm full of questions.
Huh?
I'm full of questions. I'm super curious.
I
what you're
know.
talking about.
I know. So, most guys have tried different ways to last longer.
Mm-hmm.
But one of those ways, I don't know what you guys use, but I always think of baseball because that doesn't get me hard.
Right.
Or, that keeps me, So, but it doesn't always work. Sometimes you just got an absolute smoke in front of you, and you're like, wow, can't be thinking of, how, whatever Giambi was ahead of Ortiz at some point. That just doesn't do
Right.
it. There's a smoke show in front of
No.
you. So the folks at Roman, an online men's health company, are changing the game with Roman stripes. The secret to longer lasting sex.
Can you just not read?
I'm not.
Pat.
Jared, how are we?
You don't like put them on your teeth. They're not like
No, you put
like
it on
the
your
whitening
penis.
strips. They're not whitening strips. You swipe them on your penis. They're swipes.
I know that's what
You know.
it says.
Yeah.
Hey, it's your ad read, buddy.
My ad read.
You're out there. You're out there just doing it.
Just doing it,
Yep.
guys.
Just let it rip, man.
But did you know that Roman swipes are clinically proven way to last longer in bed?
Yeah.
You did know
I
that,
knew that.
because you use them all the time, Jared, right?
Yeah, like when I'm like trying to not think about baseball as a method to last longer while having sex, then I'm always just swiping that right on my little peach.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite part, though, is they're effective, very easy to use, but they don't require a prescription. Back in the day when before Roman was around, I always had to go to the doctor. It kind of embarrassing me. Like, listen, I can't last that long. Can you give me a prescription?
What's the quickest you shot off your little nut load there? What's the quickest that you ever did that?
9 seconds.
9 seconds?
9 seconds. That's why I
What's
needed
the girl's
these.
name? What's the girl's full government name you did that with?
Natasha. Do you want her middle name as well?
No.
Full government.
Okay.
Full. Just middle initial.
The Natasha M. Winchester.
Okay. Natasha M. Winchester. So if we had her on the podcast right now, we'd be like, hey, like, remember that time with Pat Light? And she was like, boy, do I. There wasn't a ton to remember.
No, 9 seconds only.
That's impressive. The fastest?
Yeah. They're all so fast, it's hard to pick one.
Yeah, I mean, they all kind of blend together. Yeah. I actually, you know what? If there were a way to, because I know exactly who it is, and I know the exact, like, I've hooked up with her more than once, but there was one time in particular where we hooked up, and it was like all this like build up and anticipation. She was like, yeah, I'll be there, but it's going to take a couple hours. I'm like, all right, a couple hours, like, Jesus fucking Christ. And then you're just sexting for those 2 hours. Oh, I can't wait to do this and that and blah, 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 blah. And then she got there, and it could not have been more than 2 pumps. And I was like, ugh. And then that was it. And then she was like, really? And I was like, honestly, fuck you. Like, what do you mean? You're gonna make,
Fuck you.
You're gonna make me feel bad about this? Like, do you think I wanted that? Like, obviously I wish I had some Roman swipes. I didn't. So like, that's like, I apologize for not having Roman swipes. I'm not gonna apologize for being a 2-pump chump tonight. Like, it happens to a lot of guys. But if I had the Roman swipes, we're not here in this situation. So I'll apologize for not having the swipes. I'm not going to apologize for how fast that happened.
No, you shouldn't either. Absolutely not. And the good news is, Jared, that Roman can ship swipes to you in discreet, unmarked packaging, and each swipe's packet is small enough to hide in your wallet for whenever you need it. So you can carry it along with you to the club, to the bar, to Big Sam Sushi. Fun fact, Big Sam actually has a little stack behind the sushi bar to hand out just in case you need it and you forgot it at home. But they're super easy to use. Just take the swipes out of the packet, swipe it on, let it dry, and you're good to go. That's it. Go to getroman.com/rocket.
Oh,
rocket. You can get your first month of swipes for just $5 when you choose a monthly plan. That's getroman.com/rocket. Boom shakalaka. First ad read. I mean, you didn't even know. People probably don't even know that was an ad until I just said first ad read. Probably like, wow, apparently likes Roman swipes.
So natural.
You know, you really just threw that one. There was no heads up. I was just like, hey, Pat, what do you do? Go ahead.
That was, I mean, we try and work it into the show as naturally as possible. And I know I did my part.
You did your part.
Yeah.
Love a nice stripe.
It was fun. I know. Yep. I didn't pick up on what the hell you meant by that until I realized later in the ad read that I almost said stripe again. I was like, okay. That was fun. I really enjoyed that.
That's nice. Kamba.
It's got takes.
You have an intruder.
I mean, what does he think about the Hall of Fame?
I mean, he's waiting for all the numbers to come in.
Mm-hmm.
When do we get all the Negro League numbers?
That I'm not aware of.
I'm very excited for, like, now what's going to happen is Bonds isn't even going to be 1 in home runs anymore. Like, he's going to be 2. They couldn't even vote him in as the number 1 guy. Now he's got no shot. Veterans Committee is going to be like, oh, this guy's maybe 3rd.
That makes me upset.
Yeah, and that's what he's yelling about.
Oh, he's upset about the numbers?
Just that, like, it's taken so long. Baseball takes a long time to make things right. They're late to the party on a lot. And it's frustrating.
It is frustrating. You see, Raffy is working out with Luke Voit.
I saw that while on this podcast.
Yeah, what's up with that?
I mean, is Luke Voit even still in the Yankees?
You know what? That's a great question. I don't have the answer to it. I'm sure he's still employed by them, but it feels like they haven't wanted him on their team in like a year.
Yeah.
He led the league in homers in 2020. And then it feels like ever since then they've tried to find a way to get him off the team ever since.
Yeah, it seems odd. And he seems like he'd be a good clubhouse guy, so it's not like a cancer situation.
He is. Luke Voigt's awesome.
But not
but
in
I
New
think
York.
Yeah, A, not in New York, and B, I think once they traded for Rizzo, it just created like an awkward set of circumstances for everyone involved.
I mean, it's Anthony Rizzo.
Especially since that trade didn't work at all.
Specifically because of that.
Yeah. Voigt's going to feel great. Like, I want Luke Voit. Not over Kyle or anything like that, but imagine. Look at how great all the other Yankee cast-offs did last year. Get Voit on this team.
I think Luke Voit would love to play here.
I agree.
Let's get him on the podcast and ask him about it.
Yeah, let's sign him.
I think, well, we'd have to trade for him.
I thought he was getting released.
No, you could still get something for Luke Voit right now.
No, I know you could, but for some reason I thought he was available for some reason. Obviously I'm wrong, but I thought he was.
I don't know.
Well, let's sign him anyways. Let's just sign him. Dare the Yankees to take it to court.
Yeah. He's actually under contract with us. It's like, no, we signed him.
Yeah, we signed him.
I mean, we're paying him. Great guy. I think Boston would love Luke Voit because he would actually be allowed to be himself here. Which, I mean, he's trying over there. It's just, I don't know why anyone would ever want to play for the Yankees now. They never win anything, and you have to be all buttoned up. It's so fucking stupid.
Betty White's dead.
Yeah. You're going to need a win if you're going to do that stuff.
Yeah. Like, the Patriot way is going to become a tired act if the Patriots don't be the Patriots.
That was always more of a media creation than like what was happening inside the walls. Like, the Yankees take it very seriously. The Patriots, I think, let the media and other teams say that because they use it as an advantage. But inside the walls, they're like, we just play football here. That's it.
I don't know that Gronk would agree.
I think Gronk's one of the best examples. Like he wasn't doing shit other than being one of the best football players on the planet as a member of the Patriots. That's why it worked. That's all he cared about. When he was outside of the building, he did whatever he wanted. So I think that's exactly why it's the right point. When he was doing the what was it, BB Jones? What was her name?
Yeah. Yeah.
When that shit was coming out, Belichick was like, I don't give a fuck, dude. He shows up here on time every day, works his ass off, and then he goes home. Like, if the Patriot way didn't allow for that, he would have been cut on the or traded on the spot.
It's just weird. It's just weird that we're in 2022 and they still have the facial hair rule.
It's crazy.
Just, I don't know. Imagine being like Rougned Odor and you have this big, thick ass beard, which clearly, if it's that big, like you love having a beard. Like, you don't just have a beard, you have a beard. And then because you got traded somewhere, you have to change your entire physical appearance, which in some ways can be your identity. Like Garrett Cole. Like,
what if you just said no?
Deal. Yeah, what if you said no? You gonna trade or release me? Good. I don't want to fucking be here anyway. I don't want to play for a team that tells me I can't fucking have a beard. What?
They can have mustaches.
Yeah.
Which is such a weird loophole. And no one ever takes it. Like, only one guy, the fucking pitcher they had last year. I'm blanking on his name.
Nestor Cortez.
Yeah, Nestor Cortez is the only one who's taking advantage of it. Like, if a Yankee team came out.
Stanton did for a little bit.
Yeah, but he has like the really light, like Carmelo one. Like it wasn't like like Nestor Cortez had a fucking mustache.
Yeah.
If the whole team all grew mustaches together, that would be a Yankees team I would fear.
I think they tried, didn't they? Didn't they try to do that? Like a few guys grew mustaches like
That's
a few
not the
years
whole
ago.
team.
I know.
Like in 2013, everyone on the Red Sox, to their credit, grew as much of a beard as they could. Some guys that was a lot, other guys it was not so much, and it was funny. But they all tried. If you only have 3 guys doing it, like that's a team I don't fear at all because they only have 3 guys on the same page.
Now we have to power rank the Red Sox beards from 2013.
Let's tease that for next episode because we've already given the people a lot.
We've given the people a lot today. What's this run time, Jake? Like 3 hours?
Yeah, with the Damon interview, it should be right around 3.
I was ready for hour number 4, but I guess if emptying the bench real quick. Jake was on Gone Bridge. I listened to that episode. You did a good job, Jake.
Appreciate it. Yeah, those guys are great. So thanks
They
for
are
having me on.
By the way, Pat, go on Gone Bridge, you fucking asshole.
I haven't been invited, have I?
Multiple times.
Oh.
I said I was on. So I did an interview with them on Monday, and they're like, "Yeah, we've had you on. We've had Steve on. Did you go on, Coley?
No,
Did they ask?
probably.
All right.
So now you can't yell at me anymore, can you?
Well, I know for a fact that they've asked you. I don't know that they've asked Coley.
I would assume they have.
Maybe. But you also don't do a ton of that stuff anyway. Like you don't go on other people's podcasts as a guest.
No.
I don't do that a ton either. Not that I'm against going
I
on this
stopped
podcast.
doing it. You are against it, or you're
not that I'm not. I just
Oh.
don't do it all that often.
If you're gonna go on a Red Sox podcast, it should be this one.
Okay.
Good guys. It's a fun show. They're like 11, 12 years old. And they love Section 10. And we love them back. So next week on Gone Bridge, Pat Light. That's going to be a good episode.
Great episode.
They got Jake, then they got me, and then they got Pat, and then maybe they'll get Cole. Yeah, I don't know. Like Coley's more understandable because he just does not do stuff like that. But Pat, I mean, you can't get the guy to shut the fuck up. So
Okay.
it seems like a perfect match. So I'm excited to hear that episode that you're going to be on next week.
Can't wait. Super excited about it.
Yeah, emptying the bench real quick. Maybe the Red Sox are signing Seiya Suzuki. Maybe they're not. Remains to be seen.
The fuck is that all about? The goddamn Yahoo Sports Japan. Yahoo Japan. That's who we're reading now. You think Yahoo Japan?
I trust Yahoo America. I assume I'm still rolling with Yahoo Japan. I'm not giving up on that, mostly because I really want Seiya Suzuki and it makes a lot of sense. But yeah, Stats tweeted out like he saw this starting to pick up steam, and I was writing the blog, like Seiya Suzuki's coming, and then Stats tweeted out like a local Japanese paper that I'm sure he learned Japanese just to read it. It was just like, oh, this guy's only signing with a team that has spring training in Arizona. Like he's got 4 teams he's visiting. None of them are the Red Sox. I was like, sick, thanks.
Yeah, like Stats isn't a reporter, but I trust anything that he says more than I trust Yahoo Japan.
Correct.
Yahoo Japan seems like it's up to something.
I don't think so. I think I understand.
No, Coley, come
what
on.
they're
You're
saying.
falling for it.
Of course, yeah, for sure. I already said that.
Yeah, you got to read through the temptation of
I think
Yahoo Japan.
I think what's happening here is Yahoo Japan's right, but Haim has Seiya doing this little song and dance so that it is less obvious that we agreed to a contract when it was illegal to do so.
Yeah.
So until he signs with like the fucking Diamondbacks or whoever he's linked to right now, I'm still rolling with Yahoo Japan.
I want him to sign here, but fuck Yahoo Japan. I don't believe the narrative that they're trying to push.
I trust him.
He said in that interview with Koji that he was following the Red Sox because like he loved like David Ortiz and Manny and whatever. And then he's like, yeah, like I got in trouble because everyone noticed that I was following them and they were the only team that I followed. So I unfollowed them. And then everyone noticed that I unfollowed them and then I got in trouble for that too.
Yeah, he clearly just wants to come here. So I'm, again, riding with, and I think Stats is doing a good job also shifting the focus away from the very illegal signing that we've already agreed to. He's doing his job. We're all doing our jobs. It is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, hopefully it works out.
It's going to work out.
I keep feeling more and more optimistic about the players and the owners agreeing to something. Like once the players came off of like, yeah, we're not trying to get guys to free agency sooner. I feel like that was the big thing in the way for the owners. Like everything else is, you can at least have a discussion and get there. But the owners being like, yeah, we're going to give up years of control and then pay you guys quicker and give you more money and all this. Like, what do we get out of that? So, I mean, from what I saw, no one proposed my idea, which is just adding more years of arbitration. The players get more money sooner and the owners keep their 6 years of control. I don't know what the fucking big deal is. I don't know.
Well, I did think
I'm not a lawyer,
I think there was something in there that said that allowed people to get to arbitration sooner.
Yeah.
So
that just seems to be the most.
Yeah, it's technically adding
logical.
years, but it's only they wanted to do it for like the top. Or they want like a bonus pool for the top 30 players in baseball or something like that for like the young guys, and the players wanted 105 million and the owners offered 10.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I feel like, too, when they say the owners, it's like 4 people. It's the Dodgers, it's the Cubs, it's the Red Sox, and it's the Yankees. Like, if you're the Kansas City Royals and you think you have a say, like, shut the fuck up. The Royals don't have a say. The Twins, don't get me started on the Twins again. They don't have a say.
Please don't get them
The Pirates certainly don't have a say. Like, there's like 4 teams that have a say. Everyone else just shut the fuck up. Sit down.
That's how I feel about it.
Simple.
So. Interesting. Yeah, I hope we don't miss games. I think it's avoidable. I'm a little more optimistic than I felt a few days ago, before they met on back-to-back days and before the players dropped, wanting to have players reach free agency sooner. So
I don't understand why they don't. They should be in constant meeting. Like, there shouldn't be.
What else do you have to do?
Right. There shouldn't be these weeks off, these months off in between meetings. Like, it should be like, all right, we didn't come to a deal today. See you tomorrow. Like, that's obviously they don't feel like there's some huge obstacle in the way.
That's what you do when you're on a jury. Yeah,
Right.
Come back the next day, deliberate. All right, come back the next day. Oh, we couldn't figure it out, and it's either a hung jury and they get a new one in there, or you just keep fucking discussing it every single day until the room universally agrees. Like, that's how you get shit done. If you make everyone sit at a table together for 5, 6, 7 consecutive days, eventually people will agree just so that they don't have to show up anymore.
Correct.
It's like, all right, we had meetings on back-to-back days. Yay. Like, all right, we'll see you next month. Like, what?
The
For
fuck
what?
back in there.
Yeah. You get in that cage and you don't come out until you have baseball.
Yeah. That's why I don't ever view these things as like, oh, it's never going to get solved. Like, of course it's going to get fucking solved.
Yeah.
But it could get solved a hell of a lot quicker.
Should already be solved.
should we kidnap them and put them in a cage? And then, I mean, they'll probably come to an agreement by then.
So fast.
Yeah. Pat?
I agree.
Thank you. Okay. I think hey, these 3 hours flew by.
Goodbye.
I'm excited that Johnny Damon came on the show. David Ortiz is a Hall of Famer. I feel like we didn't really, there wasn't even like a ton of David Ortiz talk. I guess there was a decent amount, but
There was.
I could talk about Ortiz all day. All day.
Great guy.
Maybe we'll get him on next week. I feel like we just keep like randomly, Jake, who do you want on next week? But don't say David Ortiz. Like any like random like Red Sox player.
I've been waiting for Pedroia.
Again,
yeah.
I think the next one I'm gonna see him next weekend. I'll ask him, but I want to do one with him in person. Like I feel like if we do a Zoom with him, it's just not going to capture the same magic that an interview in person would. And I can't remember how long we went with him the first time. I think it was like an hour, right, Coley?
I was not super locked in on that one because I had fatherhood duties, but yeah, I think so.
Okay. Well, I'll talk to him. We'll figure something out. And Pat, who do you want on?
Pokey Reese.
Pokey Reese! I would love to have Pokey Reese on.
Yeah.
I've got no relationship with Pokey. I don't really know anyone that knows Pokey. Like, we're going to have to track him down somehow.
Millar?
Are you saying we can get Pokey through Millar, or you want to have Millar next week?
No, when you were saying you don't know anyone who knows him.
Mm.
David Ortiz, you do a show with him.
Mm-hmm.
He knows him. I argue you know a lot of people who know him. What about Theo? Let's get Theo on here.
Theo, I feel like, doesn't do shit like this, but we can try.
If we told him we played like the audio of a bunch of like plane crashes and stuff, he might stop by.
Yeah, he'd be like, you know what, I'm in.
He's like, I got a vintage set I've been looking to play for some people if you guys want to hear.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I mean, shit. We'll get somebody. We'll go through the Rolodex. We'll get someone. We've had a guest for what? How many straight weeks, Jake?
This is the third.
Who do we start with?
Lester,
Wakefield, Damon,
Reese,
Nixon,
Renteria.
Hated it. We can just have him on and we can just talk about how much he fucking hated it. Like, it's a different perspective. Most of the guys that we have on have won championships here. You didn't win a goddamn thing. You made the last out of the 2004 World Series, and then you came here and made 36 errors. How many errors did he make that year?
A lot. It was a lot. It was tough. I was so excited when we signed Edgar Renteria.
Me too.
I might be more upset about him not working out than Carl Crawford.
Edgar Renteria, in his one season in Boston, made 30 errors. 30.
Tough.
And then on the opposite end of the spectrum, that's when they got Agon, Alex Gonzalez, the next year, and he like set the record for best fielding percentage by a shortstop in Red Sox history. The very next year.
And then we got rid of him.
Yeah. They were like, well, you're an asshole. You hit a home run off Pedro in his return. You're gone.
Yeah. Later.
Can't do that. See ya.
Lugo.
Bring in the big Lug.
All right.
And then they won a championship. Yeah, I forgot. That is wild.
Empty the bench. Rest in peace, Julio Lugo.
Empty the bench real quick. Thank you for everything, Julio Lugo. Hashtag thank you, Julio. Thanks. All right. So we'll be back next week. Maybe with a Red Sox Hall of Famer, maybe not. Maybe with someone that just played for the Red Sox. Maybe it's someone like Pat, or it's like someone like a complete afterthought. But it'll be someone. Pat, you have any final thoughts?
Pokey Reese.
Pokey Reese. What is your thing with Pokey Reese? Do you like him that much? Do you know anything about him?
No, I just knew eventually you'd ask me who I wanted, and for whatever reason, the first name that popped in my head was Pokey Reese.
Okay, it's a great pick.
Great pick.
It is.
Great pick.
Mm-hmm.
Pokey Reese rules.
I would love to have Pokey Reese on
Mhm.
here. All right, I'll work on it.
Okay.
I'll work on it. And if we can get Pokey Reese next week, that's when you know that we're cooking with gas.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. See you next week.
Buenas noches, amigos.